Everyone, welcome to Greyhound Watchalong, round one, night one of the English Greyhound Derby, joined by Paul Lawrence as always and David Mitchell. Good evening, gents.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
How are we doing?
Good, yeah. Hopefully we can bang in a few winners tonight.
You'd be disappointed if you don't get a few winners tonight.
Yeah, it's always nice to get the first few heats, and I think to be fair tonight, I think the first three heats are the hardest of the night. Then it eases out a little bit. I don't know
Yeah.
about you guys. I just think that the first three look you could go anywhere with it.
Yeah, certainly the second and third. Have you got heavily involved in the anti-post market?
I've backed three. I've taken Forehand Rebel for obvious reasons. You'll have seen on social media the whole story behind that dog, and that dog fractured a stopper bone, and it came back. I remember them phoning me up to use Tavati, and they just really wanted the dog in good health. Really, they didn't even expect him to race again. To actually get him to race again, but to probably race to a better standard than before he got injured. It's unheard of, really, especially with a fractured stopper.
Yeah.
And there's no dog that is going to know Toaster as well as he is. He knows every bit of sand around that track. Made of granite, heart of a lion. I think he'll just keep qualifying week in, week out. Of the classier dogs, I think Kildare has all the class in the world. The 29-21 first look is as good as anything that's ever went round Toaster. Comes with a big reputation, second in the Kirby. Semi-final, it actually beat the winner, didn't it, at the Kirby? Probably missed the kick in the final, got a little bit in behind, but then again, still ran a great race. So I think of the flashier dogs, I like Kildare. And a dog that kind of ticks the not sure is the Hoodoo Brown for Liam Dowling. Liam Dowling always does well with one every year. I know he's got a fair one there again this year, but this Hoodoo Brown, if you watch it last time out at Shelbourne, and we'll talk to Ian later, I've still no idea how the dog won the race. It was probably 10 length off the front and managed to get up on the line. So I think it might lack the early pace, but it'll be one dog that finishes home with a rattle. 29-46 first looks, very good. So there would be my three. Hoodoo Brown each way, Kildare, Forehand Rebel.
A nice portfolio there. And we are now joined as well by Ian Fortune.
Hey, gentlemen. You hear me?
Hello.
Right.
We've
Good to
got
see
you
you.
for a few minutes until you begin commentating duties. It's going to be a busy old night for you, isn't it, Ian?
What can you do? You know yourself. These Thursday evenings, it's great to have a derby. Normally on a Thursday night, I'd be here at Shelbourne and be talking about very little. I'm actually here in the Oak Suite at Shelbourne Park, which anyone watching, certainly from Ireland and a few from the UK, this is where we celebrate many a derby winner over the years. It's the main suite up on the top floor. There was a meeting on just before I arrived. I had to get them to turn on TVs and all so I could actually see the action. But here we are. You're propped up on a load of linen on one of the trestle tables here, so it'll be all set up for a function, no doubt, on Saturday night very shortly. But for the meantime, I'm taking up residence.
Very good, very good. We were just saying it's a very, very open derby. Can you remember a more open derby than this one?
I can't. Every year there's something to sort of hang our hat on. And I suppose that's what's worrying us. You know, when you bring it to the horse racing and when Aidan O'Brien has 6 or 7 runners at the Epsom Derby, you sort of query, does that mean he has nothing or he has 6 stars? We've got 10 or 12 dogs at the top of the sort of, I printed off the page from the Racing Post today of the 192 dogs priced up, and I just put the green line through every dog. And the first column, it's just green. The top half is just all green, and then it's sort of the last column, there's not one green in it. So maybe we do have just very strong dogs, a very strong team, and that seems to be the case. Either we have a very, very strong team over, or for the last 2 or 3 years we've been kidding ourselves. And I'm hoping it's a very strong team. Whether we have that really standout dog that looks likely to take the toast, I don't know. Hopefully something like a Balnabula Ed or one of those dogs that's relatively like the race will step forward and become a superstar in the coming days and weeks. But for the meantime, it's a case of trying to pick which of ours is the best, and that's not easy to do. Part Blake is obviously the short price runner, so too Coolavan and Calvin. I think there's big question marks about both at present, but 1 or 2 good runs, and all of a sudden they could certainly justify their position in the betting. I was all over Park Blake the back end of last year, as I've said ad nauseum. Not so much at the moment. I'd like to see a bit of the sparkle that was there at the back end of last year, as myself and PL have discussed on more than one occasion the last few days. It's all about Ballinabula Ed for us, really. Now, don't get me wrong, I have about 15 of them back at this stage. Some at massive prices for pittance, but I do have 4 or 5 back for good money.
Yeah. So we don't know necessarily what's going to take Toaster, what's not. There's nothing obvious that's a real freak dog. Super fast. Claire's Rocket sort of profile dog in this. But of what you've seen in Ireland, which dog do you think is the fastest one that's come over for this competition?
In terms of pure raw pace,
pound for pound,
yeah. I think Ballinabula Ed could be that dog. We're just waiting for him to really sort of click into gear. He's obviously a track record holder already at Tralee. Some mighty fast greyhounds go around Tralee each and every year and have done for quite some time. For him to hold the 5.25 yard record at such an early stage in his career is fairly impressive. But then you look through the list, and in terms of brood pace, the ones I'd be looking at are big prices. Hello Hammond is a freakish pace dog. Hoodoo Brown, Ballymac Ben, but then we're talking the ones that are putting the professionalism as well with the brood pace together. At the top of the list, you look at the names: Bahart Blake, Coolavani Calvin, Wide Open, Singalong Sally, Kildare, Romeo Magico, Bobsleigh Dream. I think Romeo Magico probably has the match of any dog in training in terms of pace. His problem is that first 5 strides. But it's hard to really put your finger on one. They're just a really strong group. I would have loved Explosive Boy to be here, because he would have been definitely, without question, the number one. I think he'd be an 8-1 chance in this derby. He's not here, and as a result, I think it should be 20-1 the field.
Yeah. Are there any amongst them that you think are the type to just keep qualifying? Strong running, wide runners, etc.
Yeah, the only problem with that is we fall into that trap every year. This will keep qualifying, qualifying. They can't all keep qualifying. Like there's Beach Avenue, Hello Hammond, Hoodoo Brown, Ballymac Ben. They're the massive finishers, the dogs that, they'll always make the frame because they're coming from off the pace. That's not always the case. We say the same about, some of the English runners as well. Amaze Me Seb and the likes. The problem is some night 3 or 4 of them are going to get against each other, and they're going to be battling away against each other at the back, and all of a sudden there's early paces gone 7 clear of them or 8 clear of them. It's hard enough to pick up dogs that are going to come back, real sprinting types, but you have dogs at the front of the market that will just keep going over the 500 meters. So I think the day of the dogs that keep qualifying sort of ended nearly in Wimbledon, not so much Nottingham and Toaster, because you're bringing over a real strong 550 yard dog, and those are the dogs in the UK that are really coming to the fore. I don't want to. I certainly don't want to say anything bad about the likes of Westmead Hawk or the Moral Standards, but they might just have struggled to win a derby around Nottingham or Toaster compared to Wimbledon, where it suited that type of dog, funnily enough, despite the fact that it was set up for a dog with real blistering early speed to get around the corner and shoot on. How many dogs were really strong runners that went on to win a derby around Wimbledon? There was quite a few.
Absolutely. Right, we are now 6 minutes away from the first race, and it is not a bad race, is it? I will start by sharing the slides from Dave Branch's tipping competition. So there's 100 decent greyhound judges, and I've got some lovely pie charts, because what's sexier than a pie chart to show where the picks are. So the
hang on. Just give me a second, will you? Just let me look at that. That's beautiful.
Calm yourself down. So majority, not really a surprise here, Trainers Travel. Bit of interest though on Scooby Sprints, perhaps more than I thought there'd be. Aussie Captain, only 8 picks of the 100 on Aussie Captain. What do we think of that? Do you think that's a fair reflection of the chances of these dogs?
Well, I fancy Scooby Prince. Obviously, I'm completely biased. I think Trainers Travel is obviously a very fast greyhound. For me, he looks more of a strong runner. And if Scooby Prince, who's on the inside of him, can go around in front of him, big claims. Narcos the Great, a dog I backed to it was the Classic in Sunderland. He won. He owes me nothing. He debuted around Enniscorthy. He tends to just slightly miss it and rush into the corner. And if he is going to go anywhere at the corner, it's wide. So I just thought there was a potential that he might hold up Trina's travel a little bit, allow Scooby Prince perhaps slip around in behind Aussie Captain. Aussie Captain, perhaps not the dog he once was. Jennifer O'Donnell, who trained Scooby Prince prior to Patrick, suggested that the fact that the stands are so far away from the track will certainly suit him. He's just a dog that's just a little bit wary of crowds.
It's a really good race to start the competition, isn't it? There's a CV for pretty much every dog in this race.
Yeah,
you got Aussie Captain quarter finalist last year, Scooby Kirby finalist, Triona's Laurel finalist, Skywalker Forte Grand Prix finalist. There's some dogs that have done well in competitions here. Did Savannah Eruption win the 3 steps?
Did, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, in slightly fortuitous circumstances, but he won the 3 steps. You know, a very fast dog, but you just wonder where he's going to get a run.
Yeah, absolutely. What are your thoughts on the race, PL?
I kind of favoured Triona's travel. I don't think he's devoid of early pace by any means, and he's got actually a little bit of early fair back straight pace and stays okay. So
yeah, I think 3 is a fairly nice price for a matchbook here.
I didn't like the way Aussie Captain went. He didn't really drive out the second bend last time, and he'll be in front of Scooby Prince. So I think Scooby Prince will just have to kind of negotiate a path past Aussie Captain. That's probably a little bit of the negative. So I think probably good things can happen to the outside here, whereas they might just cuddle on the inside.
And what about you, Dave?
Like I said before, Ian came on. I thought these first 3 heats were the most difficult of the night. You can put an argument up for all of these dogs really. Triona's Travel might have everything it wants out wide, and just there might just be trouble inside with Aussie Captain Scooby Prince. I'm taking Scooby Prince. I'm with Ian. I think Scooby Prince, if he gets a look at the first bend, I mean, we don't know what Aussie Captain's going to do, but if Scooby Prince can get a look at the first bend and get clear, but I mean, I think this race really is built around what happens with the 3 inside. Aussie Captain, Scooby Prince, Narcos the Great. Whatever happens there might decide whether Triona's Travel wins this race, if that makes sense. I think I like Scooby Prince. I'm taking Scooby Prince, but it is difficult. These first 3 are difficult. I wouldn't be going in deep in these first 3.
That's not what we want to hear.
I'm sorry.
We want a strong and aggressive start to proceedings.
I've dutched 2 and 3. That's the way I've seen it. Take a chance that Scooby Prince does track around behind Aussie Captain. I think Narcos the Great is a dog while he has already a big race success in his card, I still think there's probably a bit better in him. He's only had the 13 starts in the UK. He was obviously very lightly raced in Ireland. I think he was sold after his debut. So just wouldn't be surprised if he popped up some night. Obviously there's plenty of cash from now, 6.4, and the 10.5 that was there a minute ago is quickly gone. And the way he's going, he'll be second favourite.
It's also difficult working out what's going to happen with Narcos the Great. I mean, he's only had a sprint round Toaster. It's a hell of a sprint, 15.69. I mean, a lot of these races have been over the shorter distance, and we know there's no escaping from Toaster from the fourth bend home. He's a real lung burster. What's going to happen to Narcos the Great if he gets off the front? Interesting. And Aussie Captain seems to just every competition he goes in, he goes deep in every competition. Seems to be one of those dogs that Ian was just talking about before. Every week he might just keep on be there or thereabouts. Does he just lack that little bit of class just to get him over the finish line and get him to the, is he always going to be a bridesmaid rather than the bride?
Triona's is getting smashed in here.
Yeah, it is. It's getting complete. I must admit, I made him favourite, but not this short. But he has got a good makeup. But his Perry bar form's good, really. His times are good, and obviously he's a decent run. 29.32 here as well for a trial first look. So got a decent makeup, I suppose, with 4 and 5 not doing anything too soon.
Yeah. Here we go.
Okay, first round, Heat 1. Favourite in 6, and it's been smashed as well. Lids Rise Away and Racing, and Aussie Captain up on the inside gets a bright start, along with Narcos the Great, who disputes all the 2 there. Scooby Prince gets knocked over. Trouble there for the 5 Savannah Eruption and Triona Travel, as well as down the far side. Aussie Captain has gone 2 lengths clear from Narcos the Great, trying to make ground is Skywalker Forte in behind runners as they come off the final turn. Still Aussie Captain for Pat Janssens with a 2-length lead. Here comes Skywalker Forte, late and fast, looks for a run up on the inside as they come up to the wire. 1 just from 4. Wow. Good opening contest there, apart from the fact that Scooby Prince got bowled over, but there was trouble at the first turn.
Looks okay, though.
Yeah, he completed, but yeah, hopefully he's okay. Not great for Pat Janssens. I suppose he's won with Aussie Captain, but Scooby Prince got knocked over.
Yeah. They just all went into the bend at the same time. It was a bit scary. What's come second? Is it
Skywalker Forte was second.
Yeah.
Narcos the Great was third. So we're after losing Scooby Prince and Trina's Travel straight away.
Yeah.
Disappointing.
Yeah, and they finished clear. He actually, I think if he hadn't made a mistake there, Ian, 4 and he kind of could have come and claimed.
Yeah, I would have thought of the third bend. He was certainly Skywalker Forte to pick up Aussie Captain, but in fairness to Aussie, he just keeps going. Skywalker Forte obviously was waiting for the inside, got it, but just couldn't get there. He had every chance on the run in. But Aussie Captain's good. Oh, here we are. I love this head on.
Aye.
Yeah, that's great. More of this, please.
It's all pretty straight in the first 5 or
It
10
is,
yards anyway. Yeah.
There's one race today where I don't think that will be the case.
5 is just drifting off into into Trina's a little bit. That probably prevented Trina's from being in a slightly better pitch into the opening corner, but Scooby Prince is in between the 2 runners at this point. I'd say they're probably going to cut it off just as they hit the corner. For obvious enough reasons, he might nearly have hit the camera.
Yeah.
All looks clean to that point, but obviously things get squeezy on the opening corner. The presence of Narcos the Great on the outside of Scooby Prince probably just created a pincer type situation. Yep. There's nowhere to go. I'd say it was the front legs that went rather than the back legs.
Where he's got squeezed by the two early birds, yeah.
And Aussie Captains came out, hasn't he? He came away there, and then Narcos the Great came out as well. So unfortunately, Scooby Prince hasn't came with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
The time will be interesting. Obviously, Aussie Captain, we've seen what he's trialled in. You know what he's done last year. If he goes faster than he went any night last year, you can suggest that the track is in good nick and it's going well, and just could be worth keeping in mind. The likes of Aussie Captain, who wouldn't be seen as a very strong runner, is holding a strong runner. So it might be a night for obviously it's generally a night for.
What time do you think it'd be in?
I can't imagine it's any quicker than a 29:45.
I'd say it's a 60, something like that, mate.
Yeah. That'd be absolutely, that'd be on par for Aussie around Toll Street, I'd imagine, over that trip, would it?
Yeah. I think he'd go quicker than that if he got a clear run. He's obviously rubbing shoulders and stuff at the first bend, but he got a relatively clear run, but he's probably, what is he? He's in November 18 now, so it's not like he's going to be improving by any means, is it? So
I have to give a mention to my great pal, Georgie Roach, who had him here in Ireland. Sold him after a couple of big runs in Shelburne Park. Georgie is the man. Georgie's the main man that's been keeping sort of Enniscorthy afloat. He's been one of the driving forces behind Enniscorthy here in Ireland. He's actually a barber or a hairdresser in Enniscorthy town, but absolutely dedicated to greyhounds. And it's great to see one that you hand on, that you sell on, doing so well. And I'm sure Georgie's at home jumping up and down.
It's the lads who bought an Australian dog off myself during the lockdown. Patrick and Andy Pelly, they bought I can't remember the dog's name now. Buster the Brute or something the Brute. So they bought that dog, and then they said, "Oh, we'll buy one for the Derby." Hence the name Aussie Captain.
Yeah, and he went to the quarterfinals from last year, of course.
Davy B's tipping competition. You won't be surprised to hear there are not too many points on the board after that. I think there's one selector who's got Aussie Captain. Well done. So it's a 3-2-1. So you get 3 points for the winner, 2 points for the second, 1 point for the third. Not a lot of green here. A lot of Scooby's Prince, a lot of sharing his travel backers.
Apparently, the Colonel called 1, 2, and 3 in the opener. Oh dear.
Haven't got time through yet.
Few people already on the chat. Hello, everyone. Paul Wing, tremendous early pace as always. Evening, gentlemen. Good to see you.
Alan
Greg
Southern as
McGrath,
well. Yeah.
Savannah Bow fan club in the house. Regular Alan Southern. Nice to see you, Alan. Kenny the Brute, yeah.
That was it, Kenny the Brute. And they got to a $300,000 final with that Kenny the Brute, finished second. So they've certainly got the luck, those lads.
Yeah, he was running staying races, David, wasn't he, in Ireland? Australia.
Yeah, I mean, they were just really fortunate at the time when they wanted a dog. That dog popped up, and we had one night only at the time. We've still got one night only. It was very, very similar. He was a bit of a stayer, so we didn't really want another stayer because we already had Captain Dynamite. So we said to Andy Pelly, feel free to get involved. So they picked that dog up and had a right good laugh with him.
Nice one.
Still no time. The old clock would be great, wouldn't it? If they could flick it over to the middle.
Dear.
Oh, imagine that. Do you know the digital clock was invented in 1852?
Tom was on Wikipedia today.
He's been waiting for somebody to mention the clock.
Yeah.
Be a wonderful thing, wouldn't it?
Who invented it? No, that'd be impressive.
Yeah, I haven't gone that far. No, it was one. Yeah.
Not the commercial director of the TVGB.
It's just one of those things. I obviously we had the infrastructure in or something at the time to do it, and it's linked. It's not a case of it's inputted. Even if you just had a digital input where someone in the judge's box could put up a display of a time rather than like a direct link to the photo finish as it is here in Ireland, it'd be sufficient because like here we are 3 or 4 minutes after the race and got more and still no clock. And as I remember as a young lad, if they didn't have the track right and you couldn't see the fast clocks and you didn't know the clock straight away, you'd be upset. And here we are like 30 years later more and we're waiting nearly 10 minutes for the clock. That it breaks my heart.
The first year that they had the Derby at Toaster, though, they had the RFIDs in the race jackets. And obviously, they haven't got that technology now, but they did have them in the back of the race jackets. Yeah. So it was pretty immediate, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there. I mean, they do it in Australia, but it doesn't need to be that level of technology. But it was heartbreaking going to Toaster last year and seeing that. What was going to be the clock that was just sat there and not in use. It was just disappointing, isn't it? Like you've said, Ian.
Seriously, someone tells the clock.
Yeah. Billy Brennan's just come on. Anyone hear the first comms at Toaster? Apparently he got stage fright, someone said on Twitter.
What happened?
He called the wrong result, called 1, 2, and 3.
Really?
Yeah. Despite the fact it was.
It can happen. It can happen.
Yeah.
Barry Call was on here the other week and he was telling you about the night I was calling the wrong dogs for the wrong race in Shelburne.
Oh, yeah.
I was calling the dogs in Limerick at Shelburne. And I copped it about halfway down the back straight. And just like, if you actually listen back to the commentary, you can just hear my heart breaking. Just that little point in the race where you go, Oh, and of course they're the wrong dogs. Yep, they're the wrong dogs. Into the third bend now, and I just moved straight on to the. I hope that no one noticed it, but of course I think they recorded the comms, and it's there for all time, basically.
At least you care, Ian. That's half the battle.
Yeah, to be
it's
honest, that night I don't think I did.
It's the ones where they call it and they call it a lap early. And then there's this awkward silence between, they go past the line over 4 bends, and then there's this awkward silence for about 10 yards, and then the commentator thinks, "Oh God, I need to start this again."
Yeah.
You've heard it in one or two of my commentaries where the cameraman stopped for the first finishing line, and I've belted the wall. And you're trying to shout as well, and to the second winning line, so the cameraman cops it. Because every time, I've made a point now of every time there's a 600, an 850, or a sprint in Shelburne, you just tell them, no matter how many times they've done it, it's just instinct that they just stop on the line. Second line. Do you know what I said now? Yeah. The second line, or 2 laps. There was 2 laps, lads. It's 2 laps.
We've got time.
29.82, yeah.
29.82.
Actually, Daddy O'Sullivan, the SIS commentator, is a really lovely lad. He's been at SIS Yonks. He actually called a 2-bend race on the 540 race at Greyford. I think it was Wednesday morning. But that was, I think, what happened was a dog came out on parade. The race came out on parade. They pulled the 3 dog out on parade, took him back, and then he had to do the Harlow one next, and he kind of got a bit. I think he got a bit flapped himself, and then they switched over to Crayford. He called the race a circuit too early because there's never a 2-bender at Crayford, but I suppose he might have even been calling a sprint race at Harlow, and he got a bit confused, bless him. So
the boys on Twitter, mate, well, boys and girls, plenty of ladies have entered this competition. Make this a 3-dog race.
I'm amazed by that. When I saw the heat opening up, and I said, perhaps I made one of the reasons for it, but I thought Hoodoo Brown would be 10-1. My fear with Hoodoo Brown is that it's not Jaguar Macy and Bocco's Belly; it's that he'll run into one of the slower dogs behind, because he's still sort of filling his frame, shall we say. He's like a big Orco teenager. You know what I mean? He's all legs and arms, and but my God, this is a fast greyhound. I've been talking about him a long, long time now at this stage, since he debuted in the Juvenile Classic. It took him a long while to win a race, but 6-1, 5-1, 6.2 against the likes of Jaguar Macy and Bocco's Belly. It's hard to see him come from 10 behind either of them, and that's where he could be. You know what I mean? So I think I'll leave it alone.
Just before you came on, Ian, I said I've just watched the race at Shelbourne Park that he won. I've no idea how he made up the ground that he did at Shelbourne Park.
Yeah,
it must have been 10 lengths down the back.
The dog that he picked up did 28.45 in the first round of Produce 6 last Sunday night in his next race.
Jeez.
Yeah, no, he's an immensely fast greyhound, but he's a big 85-pounder. What's that in your money? What's that, about 87 kilos, 88 kilos, 88.8 kilos? He's just
38.8.
He's a monster. He's an absolute monster.
Big.
But again, he's like just an Orco teenager, as I said, and it'll happen for him. 3:32 or 4:32 section the last night, 29.26. That's 24.94 line to line. When Bocco's Belly did the clock, he did 24.86 line to line. So that's telling you exactly how fast they are. If anything's doing less than 25 seconds line to line, they're moving. And that's exactly what Hoodoo Brown did. Unfortunately, he could be 4 or 5 behind at that point, the first winning line. So we'll see. It's an intriguing race. I'd probably want a little bit bigger than Hoodoo Brown. That said, I suppose the reason he is so short is because they can't choose between Jaguar Macy and Bocco's Belly. I think Jaguar Macy has the draw, but the problem is, will she box as well from the inside?
It's not a great box, is it?
Yeah. Didn't stop Aussie Captain, that must be said.
True. The trouble probably helped in that race, I would say.
But he was in front anyway, wasn't he? Wasn't he just marginally in front going to the bend?
Yeah. He came away Aussie Captain. He did come away Aussie Captain. He did deserve to get his nose in front of the bend.
Oh, he did.
He deserved to hold his ground.
Going behind?
I just want to see Hoodoo Brown qualifying. I'd love to see him in a race later on in the competition where there was 4 or 5 early pacers and he could do his own thing for the first half and then go. Because he's immensely fast. But look at the size of him behind the traps. It's like a racehorse compared to a couple of them, you know.
Like, he's huge. He is absolutely huge.
Bucko's belly is 35 kilos, and he looks like me standing
like
against my daughter.
Horse,
you know what I mean?
That's it. All loaded then. Interesting race this. Jaguar Macy in 1 and Bocco's Belly in 3, the joint favourites. And they're off and racing, and Jaguar Macy gets a bright start along with now Bocco's Belly showing the superior early dash and gets to the front. And then Jaguar Macy turns in second along with Savannah Camino up on the shoulder. Oh, Hoodoo Brown trying to make ground, and Jaguar Macy's got shuffled back to last as they go down the far side. It's Bocco's Belly. He's gone well clear around the last 2 turns. Has an 8-length lead over the 4. Hoodoo Brown is looking to stay on in front of Savannah Camino, but up towards the line. Bocco's Belly has got to come home alone. Impressive stuff from Pat Jansen's 2 from 2.
This would be a real indication of how the track's running, lads. You know, Bocco's Belly getting loose on the front.
Definitely.
Big display. Hoodoo Brown, as I said to you, I think I said it to you, Paul, he thinks he's a 62-pounder, some of the gaps he goes for. And he's been the undoing of Jaguar Macy. Poor old 26.5 kilos of Jaguar Macy against, the monster that is Hoodoo Brown.
Bullied his way around this first bend.
Like, and in fairness, is all the trouble that he found himself. Now, he caused a lot of it. And Savannah Camino actually did get stopped there at that second bend, excuse me. Because I was going to say, to pick up Savannah Camino, who is screaming out for further, is a fair, it's a fair indication of what Hoodoo Brown can do. But Bocco's Belly is just gone, lads. I know you're very sweet in him, PL, and he's amongst your 4 for the competition. That's a very pleasing sight. I was talking to Bev and Graham during the week, and they were showing me pictures of him sitting at home like he was retired. Is he one of your Tavati dogs, David? You're on mute.
Bocco's has maybe sampled a bit of Tavati in his time. I like to keep that under my hat. He took to the trainers to talk about that, Ian. You know that.
No, fair enough. No, I didn't. I know that they didn't tell me whether he was or wasn't. But the fact that he's literally come back from retirement, a dog splashing around the paddling pool in Bev and Graham's back garden to winning a heat of a derby by as far as he likes, it's fairly impressive. Great to see him winning. Obviously Graham and Bev are wonderful supporters of the sport, and good winner for Patrick Janssens. 2 for 2 for Patrick Janssens, of course.
Absolutely.
Commentator said that.
I just hope Liam Darling doesn't contact us for Tavati for that racehorse that he's putting around. I don't think I'll be able to get big enough bottles. They'll have to go in litre bottles.
I tell you what, the way I feel after my Monday night football, I could do with a bottle of Tavati a month.
What qualified in 3rd?
Savannah. Savannah Camino.
Yeah.
And Jaguar Macy was moving off there as well. She was half causing her own trouble there.
And she's not going to get much. She's not going to get much ground against Hoodoo now. In fairness, when she's trying to take his ground, I was surprised how close he was into the corner. He actually showed a bit of boot into the bend. Like he's only a length behind Bocco's Belly on the corner. Obviously, he finds plenty of traffic, but no, he can run.
The thing is, Ian, you hit the nail on the head earlier, and that is just a perfect example there. These dogs like Hoodoo Brown, and others that we've already said might just keep going through week in, week out. That kind of situation is going to happen more and more with these dogs that are, we've said, they'll just qualify every week. They're all going to bunch up in the middle of the pack. You're going to get a dog like the Bocco's dog that just gets off the front and eats away and clear, and they're not going to be able to rein it in. So as the competition goes on, we're going to see more and more of this, aren't we, where these dogs that keep qualifying every week that just lack that flashy early pace.
Yeah, space becomes a premium, and it becomes a premium pretty rapidly. Like you look at the first row of that betting column that I'm talking about. What's there? Like it's 2.5. So, yeah, that's 2/5 of the field. So that's the guts of 100 dogs. So like that's where you're going to be next week. If the majority of those dogs get through, there's no room for error. There's no room to to make mistakes. You've got to be foot perfect. Like we've have to see in the first 2 races, Scooby Prince made, an error in a sense where he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and Jaguar Macy moving off on the corner when she was in a decent enough pitch, and bang, they're both gone. One mistake and you're gone in the Derby. That's why you need as much luck as you do skill and absolute just brute pace.
Yeah, absolutely. 29:36 the time in that race, which I'd say it looked quicker than that. I'd say that probably 10-20 slow.
Or
possibly
perhaps it's normal compared to what it's been recently. Yeah. Maybe it's been quick recently.
I would say the track is not far off normal. Maybe a little bit slow, but we'll see as the meeting progresses how slow it is. But 29:36?
Yeah,
a decent effort.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have a nice clean run race in the next.
Yeah. I think if we get these hard ones out of the way, then we should fly through the car.
Kick on from there, yeah.
Kick on from there.
We've kept our powder dry. I probably would have backed Bocco's in that, a bit of classic after timing, but wasn't a strong fancy. And we've got a lot of races to get through with our funds over the next 3 nights. So
I'll tell you one thing: you're definitely going to get value for money in the next race. I looked at it for a few minutes the other day, and the more I looked, the more confused I got. If I thought Ballyblack Speed had Trap on terms, he'd be my choice. But Trap won. That's the issue. Now
it is, yeah.
Both Aussie Captain and Jaguar Macy were prominent, but like both of them are capable of a flash start, and neither of them were clear into the corner by any stretch. So.
Yeah, absolutely. The weight of selections, Ballyblack Speed, the majority. Quite a few for Drumco Brent on the outside. Probably got the draw in the race. Infield Trojan. Every chance of getting away. Make noise. A fair spread of selections there.
Would be interesting for this Goldis Perryman as well, because I know there's quite a big following, isn't there? Is it owned by the guys at Fergal? Yeah. I know Tom Hilbron's sweet on Infield Trojan.
Yeah, I thought he had enough. I mean, I watched his video against Drunk Crow Brent, and he outpaced Drunk Crow Brent readily into the turn. He's got a bit of early, but then Make Noise has, and Make Noise is going to go across. And Ballyblack Speed is not devoid either. So I thought they could squeeze on the inside and kind of look to the outside. But I've got to tell you, I really, really don't think that Drum Crow Brent's running well. I don't. I mean, I said that about Aussie Captain, so Yeah. But even that 1607, I'd expect a dog of Drum Crow Brent's calibre in the past to be doing a 1580 standing on his head. And his last few runs, he just hasn't quite fired, in my opinion. That's the same. He's got the best draw of the night, I think. Drum Crow Brent.
The Ballyblack Speed dog the last night was beaten a short head by Savannah Bow in 29:20. Now, obviously, track was going well, but he actually lost the race on the first corner when he was pushed off wide by the dog on his inside. I thought he ran a remarkable race to get back to the front and then only be pipped on the line by Savannah Bow, who got a lovely run in behind and is a very strong runner. I thought if he held Infield Trojan in the opening 5 strides, I thought he'd win Ballyblack Speed. And the problem was the red jacket. But if let's say there were guaranteed all to break on level terms, I'd make him a 5-4 chance. As it is, he's 3-1.
Yeah, I think I was with Infield Trojan, but I went back and redid the race, and I agree with Ian. I think actually Ballyblack Speed, if he breaks, I don't think anything will get around him. I definitely Make Noise won't get around him, and I don't think Infield Trojan will either. I'm a big fan of Infield Trojan, but I don't like the race in that 1, 2, and 3 are going to be looking for the same room. But I think you'd always rather be on the inside, if you get what I mean. So yeah, I thought.
Do you have him staying in lane 1, or do you have him moving off a little bit?
I've got him 1.5. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've got Infield Trojan sort of 1.25, 1.5, and I've got Make Noise 2. So You know, it's not ideal for it. It's not ideal, but I do think if he breaks, I think he'll win.
He's the smallest dog in the field, 32.7. He's raced at 33.5. So yeah, looked a nice balanced dog last week. I can't imagine that he wouldn't be able for a bit of rubbing in the early yards to hold his pitch.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if he went 3.5, Tom, I think I'd have a little small bet on him.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think Farney's Buster's going to go?
He'll be going lane 3.
So they could this race could fall to pieces for Drumcrow Bent, really. Couldn't it?
Yeah, no dangers. And if you went back to his March form, he'd say a good thing. I think most people are thinking he's still the same dog as he was in March. I've got a personal opinion that I don't think he is. But having said that, you know, his last race on 17th of April, he came back with a sprint trial. There might have been a problem, and Mark might have found the solution to that problem. So, you know,
if there is support for him, it's due to the fact that, you know, as you say, the chances are of a little bit of crowding on the inside. Plus, Farney's Buster, like I've written down, he lacks a yard early. Like he was thoroughly outpointed into the corner in his last 2 or 3 starts. So, you know, if Drumcrow Brent can take one of his better starts on the outside and just avoid the traffic coast around, that's the view that many are taking, I say. But as you can see, Ballyblack speed 3.5, 4. That's he has to settle down a little bit, but. Yeah, I thought 3.55 was perfectly fair.
Yeah, I made him a sort of a 3.3 chance, me personally, but so yeah, I favoured the inside pair. So if we do play Tom, I'll probably bet one, but I couldn't let 2 go because if he popped out in front of 1, it'd kill me.
Little saver on the 2.
I think so. It's what they call a rod laver in the business, right?
I've got to say, it has been a breath of fresh air this week, seeing the various bookmakers price up these heats and actually take a view on them, rather than just copying the first one to put them. There's been dogs 7-2 with one bookmaker, 5-2 with another, because they're actually having a go at pricing their opinion. Wouldn't we like that every week?
There was dogs 7-2 one bookmaker and 10 with another. You know, it was it was so imbalanced that they were sort of looking at each other, going, "God, who's right and who's wrong, and who's going to make the first move here?"
It's great, more of that.
Yeah,
proper bookmaking. I saw the Betfred odds compiler said he'd done all the videos and thought he was going to be hearing the bell in his sleep. I can't well believe.
That was Craig, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's important that these traders take an opinion, though. You know, if you can have a battle of wits with the punter, they need to take an opinion and not fear that one bookmaker's priced it up this way and that way. They've got to trust themselves, haven't they? It's their job at the end of the day.
You find with Toaster, you know, the fact that so many dogs are limited experience around the place, that the market's a bit more condensed than it should be. You know, like probably the favourites could be a fraction shorter. There's dogs going in at 10 and 12 that you really could put a 33 to them. You know what I mean? A 33 and a 40. I'm surprised there's not more dogs 20, 25, 33 in some of the heats than there are. But like, that's a good thing for those of us that want to bet those sort of dogs in the middle. You know, the dogs that we think are a 7-2 chance are available at 9-2, 5-1. We'll take that all day.
Quite interesting that the first 2 heats have been won by dogs that are a bit more long in the tooth, a bit more experience, a bit more savvy, rather than these younger dogs that are maybe just lacking that little bit of experience. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what Drumcrow Brent does here, because he's the old hand in this field, isn't he?
Yeah. And plenty of experience around Toaster, like the first 2 winners. You know, it is a track. The more you get to see it, the better.
Absolutely. Do you think that's a worry for the Irish then this year, Ian? Because, I mean, some of these Irish dogs that came over posted like 29.40s, That's all they've done. They haven't had much experience of the place.
Yeah, listen, you can get away with it in the first round because it's that bit more diluted, and it's all about qualification for the Irish in the first round. Get a look at the place, get a feel for it. You'd hope that certainly for the top 20, 25 of the Irish, that quality will come through. Like if Hoodoo Brown is handling it after one look, you'd have to hold hope for the more professional dogs, the dogs that have a bit more experience with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Watty, Trojan 5-time, Perriman 8-time against Field. I've seen worse bets. Quick update on Dave's competition. We've got too many things open here. Few people napped Bocco's belly. It's on the far side, so I can't see it. So they've got decent rake of points in the bag. Quite a few who had Bocco's belly there, so a lot of 3-pointers in that race. Tommy Gracie picked Aussie captain, picked Bocco's belly, napped Bocco's belly. Tremendous early pace by Tommy Gracie. Very well done, Tommy.
Look, Lorraine's just texted Cheryl Janssens, and she said that Scooby Prince is fine.
Good, very good news.
That's my personal secretary in action there.
Did I see that? Did I see that you were favourite, Ian, for the GWA competition?
Yeah, it's a bit of a joke now, to be honest. Excuse me, there's a bit of noise in the background here. Yeah, it's a bit of a joke. I'm a 6-1 favourite for. I suppose that's because I won it last year, but they made me favourite last year as well, and I laughed at it then. I'm sort of giving away plenty of ground in the first round because I tend to tip the Irish dogs just so I can't say it. I didn't tip them, and you're hoping that they perform well in the opening round and then get a look at the place, and then I can get a look at the form from a going forward point of view. But like last year, I won by a few cents from Billy Brennan, so I can't say it was a massive victory or anything like it. There was no plus 40 profit or anything like that. I think I won with £8 or £9 profit. I'd take it again this year, to be honest.
Yeah, it must be a treat for you, Ian, that the good dogs that start in Ireland stay in Ireland now, rather than all coming to the UK as they did, 10 years ago. You at Shelbourne Park on your Saturday nights, you're just seeing the cream of the crop week after week.
Yeah, week after week, it's a joy to behold what happens in Shelbourne Park every Saturday night. I couldn't imagine being anywhere else.
A Shelbourne A1 now is the equivalent of a Cat 1 final over here in terms of quality a lot of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm looking at some of the dogs, going down through the list in the Derby, and when you get past the top 25, 30 of them, and going like, I'm not sure they'd win too many races on Saturday night in Shelbourne Park. I remember a bitch of Seamus Graham had called Pacific. I think it could have been Pacific Beauty. She won 6 weeks in a row in Shelbourne Park. Various just open races. It was unheard of at the time. It was unheard of. Whatever about through a competition or something, but just an open race every week where the racing manager gets a chance to handpick the ones to get to beat you. And she won 6 in a row. It was an unbelievable achievement. It's even tougher now.
Around Shelbourne, a 28.50 dog used to be kind of the benchmark for a really, really fast dog. What do you think it is now?
Well, you wouldn't start thinking about derbies unless they're capable of doing a 28.20. You know what I mean? And even then, because the derby's now 550 yards, it's a very different scenario. You want dogs that can do that 28.20, but that get the 550 yards and perhaps even further. Like the 550 yards in Shelbourne it's a very different 550 than it used to be, because you need to have the blinding early speed, but you also need to be able to to get home over 550 yards and as I said, perhaps even further.
Quick question, Ian.
Yeah.
What do you think the mighty Premier Fantasy would do around Shelbourne Park these days?
On his night, on his peak, he did 28.08. He did 28.08, and that was at about his 8th or 10th start. And his first 3 or 4 starts were a write-off. He was actually beating his first 3 starts in Shelbourne, which had Seamus Graham scratching his head. He told me 6 weeks before he ran his first race, he says, "I've the fastest dog I ever put a lead on." Now, remembered that only 6 months prior he'd won his third derby or his second derby. I'm not sure, his third derby, perhaps Climate Control, and I sort of laughed at it. And the night he did the 28 weight around Shelbourne Park was pretty stunning. That was in the final of the East Cup. Then went to the UK. He still says it was the fastest dog he ever put a lead on. I'd have to say 27.50.
Jesus,
Really?
He was just, for me, he was the most perfect racing greyhound I ever saw.
He was.
Yeah.
So you're one here, Ian, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm the top.
David?
One for me.
Yeah. Okay. We've had a little bit on one, so Heat 3 then. And the favourite is in red. Infield Trojan's been backed as well in the blue of 2. And away and racing, and Goldie's Perryman comes out the box. Is Infield Trojan showing early dash though into the turn, and will lead off here from Goldie's Perryman. In behind these comes a 3 Make Noise, and then 5 dropping on the rails. That's Farney's Buster at the back of the pack. Ballybrack Speed and Drumcrow Brent is last into the penultimate turn, and it's 4 on the outside of 2, 3 closing, 5 looking for room in behind them. Up on the inside, Infield Trojan is now being passed by Make Noise. He's battling back though, and up towards the line. Infield Trojan will go and win it. It's tight for the minor medals. Very close, but well done to Tom Helbron. And Infield Trojan, I changed my mind.
Good commentary, PL. There was a lot going on there.
Well, there's no hats off to the man who made the draw. No, normally you say hats off to the grader. Sweet Lord, that was competitive. I was about to say to you before the race, but I'll do this comms before I leave, and glad I didn't.
This dog was 6-1 on the earlies, and I ummed and ahs, and I then he was 9-2, and he was still big. I'd say I had him second favourite. Oh dear!
Oh, like a graded race at Kinsey, it was tight. It was a tight old race.
What about old Goldie's Perryman laying it down?
Yeah.
If he gets around 2 at that point.
That's brave by 2 there to keep going and hold that line.
Kept on finding, and then look at Drumcrow Brent. Like as you said, PL. If you didn't think he was running well, and he was the dog you could have laid, all of a sudden you got a bit of a fright because he's coming between dogs. He has a bit of momentum. As it is, I'm not even sure what qualifies. 2 certainly wins it in Field Trojan, but it's
commentator said it was tight.
Yeah.
he didn't make any predictions there.
Desperately tight. Maybe Make Noise on the near side.
I think so. 2, 3.
Is Goldie's there? Goldie's
2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
They're through.
2, 3, 4.
It'd be great to see him getting a few rounds because
it will. Yeah,
they'll have a bit of sport,
That's why we wanted to get Doc on, because it'd be good for us as well. Do you know what I mean? But I always follow him. We met him at Warwick. Me and Lorraine went to Warwick Racecourse for a. Oh, yeah, there's the head on. I'll tell you this in a minute.
Jesus, red was bad away here, and it is red. I think that's probably the issue as much as anything.
Yeah, that was my first thoughts when I was watching the race. The red jacket. Just be wary if you're backing. I don't think
he stayed fairly straight there in as well, didn't he? To be fair, I had 1.5, but he was all right, wasn't he? In 1.
Yeah.
No, that was good. That wasn't it? Really for.
Oh, that was a nice one. You'd like to see them all going into the corner like that again.
Yeah, and actually, Farney's Buster stayed fairly straight. I had him going across, but he didn't. So, good. Like that.
Ethan Maloney said 29.91. I don't know how you get the time so quick, Ethan. Tell us. What's your secret source of time?
Perhaps he's there.
Special stopwatch.
Perhaps he's there listening to us. Yeah.
Could be.
Tell us, Ethan. Tell us
Let
more.
us know, Ethan. You got some
tell us
tenterhooks there.
Got to say as well, huge fan of Tom Heilbron as a trainer.
Yeah,
we've got a dog with him at the minute. Just for a bitch with him. I've been to the kennels a few times. Really, really, one of those trainers. Like, he's young, he's ambitious. It's only a matter of time before he starts. Well, I think he's roughly around top 10, just outside. It's only a matter of time before he's competing with the likes of Patrick Janssens and your Mark Wallace's.
Tom is Tom the boxer, is he?
Yeah. I think he's just retired now. He's just finished the boxing.
So that discipline would really equate well to training greyhounds in terms of you're up early, you do the work. Do you know what I mean?
And his kennels are brilliant. I mean, I've taken George up a couple of times because he's covering some bitches. He's going to cover, Jamira Liberty. So I took George up there and had a little look around. It's really, really nice setup he's got, and he's keen as mustard. You know, he really wants to make something. He doesn't mind putting the hard yards in. And I think did he not get first and second in the big Northern Classic or Northern Sprint or something in Newcastle? So he's had a couple of category 1 wins as it is. It's only a matter of time before he really gets that top derby dog.
He had a winner or two in the early round last year, was it? Was it Any Name Will Do, or was that him? Any Name Will Do? Am I wrong?
Didn't he have the Ballymac dog that got injured? Just I don't think it actually got into the competition, did it? What was it? What's that dog that's at stud now? The Ballymac dog that I think he was going to try and.
Oh yeah, Inspeed.
That's it. Yeah, Inspeed.
Yes. He was one of a few that had Ballymac Inspeed, I think.
I think so. There's no party involved.
Never to be spoken of again.
But no, really nice lad as well. Yeah, really, really decent lad. Going places.
I'll line up the next race. So, Heat 4. This is what the jury have decided. Sporting Chile, unsurprisingly, having broken the track record last week and stolen all the value for dipping below the 29 seconds that would have been there for the derby. Yeah. Hello Hammond, unsurprisingly, popular. And it's mad, really, that we've got a dog that's got not far off the share of votes here of the track record holder. Bit of interest there for Spinosaurus, Bryce Canyon.
It's one of the rare occasions where, like, a dog like Hello Hammond is in a race like this, and the track record holder's against him, and you could probably say that he's not the fastest dog in the race, Sporting Chile, because Hello Hammond is there. He's an immensely fast greyhound. His issue has always been the sat nav. That run he did in Shelburne in the semi-finals of the Shelburne Open 600 was inside the top 4 or 5 fastest runs ever at Shelburne Park. And then to chase on Fast Fit Paddy, who did a 31.96 in the final, only the third dog to break 32 seconds, and to stay as close as he did, or to get as close as he did, should I say, when Fast Fit Paddy took the flyer, was an achievement in itself. I was a bit surprised he didn't beat Global Vision the last night. He's only beaten 3 parts, but like, he showed all sorts of pace behind him, and it's 1 in 29.14. So, but listen, Sporting Chile's a dog that's absolutely flying. I'd sooner a little bit further in, 3 or 4 myself. I think at short prices I'd prefer to lay Sporting Chile.
Yeah, I didn't think he'd go smash again with the 408. I was quite surprised actually when he did go that quick over the line. Because normally 4.23 is his sort of 4.20 and 4.17, I suppose, something like that. But yeah, that was an exceptionally fast start. It's nothing to say he can't do it again. But I think Hello Hammond will run a good race here. Me.
So Hello Hammond's in 3. Do we buy into 3 being the ping box at Toaster?
Well, whether it's the ping box or not, it's certainly a trap where you have most chance of coming away racing. It doesn't guarantee a start.
Why do we think that is? Why would there be a ping box in the middle of 6 traps that open at the same time?
This is something we've gone through for about 10 years in Ireland. We used to have probably the very same boxes, and the lids are quite light, and the drives, the rams were in the middle, and it used to bow slightly. So basically, like, it'd only be an inch or something, but the outside and the inside would break that fraction slower. Fractions than the middle. Now they changed it in Shelburne, and they've supported the bottom of the bottom of the lid, so there's an extra strength on it. Now, I'm not sure what the situation at the moment is. It's not something we've had to concern ourselves with a few years in Ireland at this point, but there was a lot of talk at the time. I think PL, I had this discussion with you one day for about 45 minutes in the car. You were looking for boxes for Lifford at the time.
That's it. Yeah.
And we had this discussion, and I remember saying, just ring Paul Hennessy, and speaking of which, ring Pat Buckley or someone like that.
Yeah.
Because they were all involved at the time in how we could get the boxes sorted.
I did. I spoke to Pat. I spoke to Liam, and I spoke to Paul as well. Yeah. So and in the end, we've got them refurbed. So that's all done now. It took a fair while, but Gavin Smith did it, and yeah, it's just strange. We must welcome Emma Buckley.
Hello, thanks for having me, everyone.
That's fine. We were just talking, Emma, about the boxes, and Tom was saying, do we think that Trap 3 is the ping box now at Toaster?
Look, it's crazy to think that it is. Like you were saying earlier, there's 6 boxes. Why should one be any different? But I don't know. I think we switched Knocking About Sid to middle last year, and he just started bingo breaking. Whatever it is, I don't know. But
yeah,
maybe there is some theory to it.
Yeah. So I don't really know, but and the thing is as well, Ian, a lot of the boxes they're not all the same, are they? They're quite different in Ireland.
Yeah, oh God, I don't get it around as much as I used to. They're generally the same now because obviously the same people are providing them. But Emma will tell you, if you're in Shelburne Park, you have a fast starter and one, you have a great life. You have a real chance now, where that wasn't the case when the previous version of these boxes were in. Again, it was all the middle boxes. But now, if you're in Trap 1, you have a fast starter. It's half the battle.
Yeah.
Warren Bond said here, the old Trap 3 smash break at Romford, you'll never convince me it wasn't a real thing. I think it was, and I think and that is why they changed the traps at Romford, because 3 had become too reliable to get a ping dog out of.
But when you consider the fact that people were buying dogs that were ping starters anyway, all about early speed and ping starters, bringing them to Romford, any little tiny variation towards the middle, any little advantage would have been heightened because of the very nature of the Greyhounds are running there week in, week out, being the 400-yard trip. Like on a Friday night in Romford, if you've good early speed, you've no chance. You've got to be a ping starter and good early speed. Do you know what I mean? It's not just good enough to have blistering early. You need to be able to ping start as well.
I don't know why we love the Romford Friday so much. I think we're just sick human beings.
Because you get used to it, Tom. I suppose that's what it is, isn't it? And the thing is, like, everyone kind of moans about the camera angle, but everyone kind of likes they just like the Romford Friday nights, don't they?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes as well, like when you get the heats, the one Friday, and then the finals the next, and then the heats of another one start for the. I think that creates. I do like that idea. I think it creates real good interest.
Have you sampled a Friday night at Romford, Ian?
I've never been.
I know there is. You could be in for a treat here, Ian.
In fairness, there is an open invite. I wrote something in a Monday column a long time ago, and the much maligned Dean Smith or somebody that rang me or offered an open invite, come on over and look after you some night and get to sample it. And it is something I want to do. I want to get over there, but I want to be there at night where there's a few of the boys over as well. So,
honestly, I really love. We had a what you'd call a Romford Friday night dog in a dog called Brogan T-Bone, and he was just a joy. It was just like great and it was the fact that you go with your pals, you go to the pub across the road, you have a game of pool and a few pints, and then you go there, and then you have the crack with a good dog, and you've got a chance with a reasonable dog as well. And then it was just I think, again, like most dog tracks, you get that community spirit, but Romford was quite special for me.
Yeah, we've got Emma back. Hopefully, it sounds a little bit better now.
Yeah, can we just start asking Emma a question? Emma, how's Balnaboula Ed?
He's great. I can see Paul Lawrence's smile up there, but he's in cracking form and he's settled brilliantly. We're very pleased with the trial. So look, I know a few of you have Mandy posts, so look, we can only hope for the best now.
If he wins it, myself and Paul are actually buying Romford. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a big fan of. Right from day one when I saw him, I'm a big fan. He's a striking dog as well. So, yeah, we wish you all the best. Obviously, you got a really, really good team. I contacted your dad and just thought he had such a real good team of dogs, and I think he's actually got better.
Yeah, look, it's one of the better teams I think we brought over, and one of the bigger ones as well. But yeah, look, there's a few kind of maybe inexperienced, unexposed types, but I just think bringing them into a derby and having them compete with, classy dogs, it really does make a man of them. We brought Knocknball Sid over to Nottingham that first year, 2020, and he came back and won an Easter Cup from it. So they learn a lot over here. But yeah, look, they're a cracking bunch of dogs, in fairness to them.
Yeah, they are. Certainly are. And sorry.
You're probably about to ask the same question I was going to. Out of the lot of them, what's the best chance, Emma? What are you putting us on to?
I think everyone is hoping that I'll say Van der Bula Edge. Yeah, look, he's a seriously fast pup. I think that bit of experience he got in the Kirby as well should carry him a long way. You'd be hoping, being a middle seed as well, you'd be hoping he'll get his box most nights. Yeah, I really like this pup. Cushy Concord is another one, very, very, very fast, but we don't know a lot about him, so looking forward to him. But I don't know, I find it hard to stray away from Sally. I know she has an absolute nightmare draw. Thank you, Ian. We'll forgive you. But yeah, look, if she can get herself through this first night, we know how good of a competition bitch she is, and look, she's a class act. She can go well.
Absolutely. Okay, 4 minutes to off in this race. Pretty tight in the market between Hello Hammond, Sporting Chile. Sporting Chile, unsurprisingly, the favourite. 5-4, too short to back. What do we think?
Yeah, I was a Hello Hammond dog at me personally, but
just 2.66. Like he's got a big price for the track record holder.
He's going out a bit now, actually.
I know he's that yard or two out, but Hello Hammond is not guaranteed to start by any stretch of imagination. Spinosaurus has a bit of a weight variation since he arrived over his first run in the UK. He's in the red box. There's no guarantee he'll get a start. He'll stay tight to the fence. Esky is any price, so I'm assuming he's not going to figure. And for Bryce Canyon, I don't know an awful lot about him, but is he a starter? Rails to middle. There's no exceptional sectionals there. So, if Sporting Chile, he doesn't even have to do his 409. If he does a 419, he could be bang there on the corner. And while Hello Hammond, as quick as he is, the steering part is his problem. If Sporting Chile is in front of him, and even if he turns a length behind him, he still has to get around him or inside him. And I just don't know. Yeah, they're probably both at a price where you could nearly back them both, because I wouldn't fancy Spinosaurus myself. Not first run of the UK, and just with the weight variation and stuff. Maybe he's back up in a little bit of weight. I don't know, but yeah, it's very much a 2-dog race for me.
Yeah, and obviously you probably got to go soon, so you are quite welcome to do this commentary, Ian. I know you're itching to do one as well. So
go on, I'll do one. And then I'm gone seconds after, so yeah.
I know. It will be the best one on the night. We know that. We know.
No, don't start now. My vision's not great. The TV's a long way away, right? That's my excuse.
You don't need an excuse. Yeah, there's a bit of money for Spinosaurus.
In fairness, in the first tease, I didn't know Hoodoo Brown had gone second until you said it. That's because it was quite glary at that point, wasn't it? Whatever way the sun was coming in, it was sort of difficult to see the colours.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I'd forgive the Colonel, because it can happen.
Yeah. So Emma, have you got a selection here?
Yeah, like Ian said, it probably is a 2-dog race for me. Sporting Chile's been doing nothing wrong these last 2 runs. I think they've taught a lot of this dog even from when he first hit the schooling track. But I don't know. I feel like I'd slightly side with Hello Hammond. I think he did a big run in the Shelburne 600. You'd be hoping that he'll turn close enough behind Sporting Chile, and if he gets any sort of a run and goes on, he's got the pace to go. So yeah, look, it's a 2-dog race, but we'll get close to it, imagine.
And what were you here, Tom?
I was Sporting Chile. I just think you can't look at that last run and think this isn't a dog moving forward. It's improving run after run, and if it improves again, help us all. Yeah, it's the dogs either side of it as well. 4 and 6. Yeah, you wouldn't expect to see either of those winning this race or necessarily out trapping it. Yeah, there's a danger, I suppose, that 4 and 5 will break level, and 4 hold 5 up to the bend. But I think 5's got every chance of getting clear, and then it's just got to run to the bend with the 3. And I think it's got every chance of being a bit ahead. But is the ping box a thing? Does Hello Hammond get a length advantage due to the mystery of the ping box? In which case, it's a very, very interesting race. I think whichever one turns round the first bend in front will win this.
I can promise you one thing: if Hello Hammond gets a length on any dog in the Derby, he wins. You know, his engine is up there with any dog in the Derby. And if he is a length behind Sporting Chili, just don't be surprised if he did get by him, because he's incredibly fast.
Yeah.
His record probably doesn't suggest that, but this dog can run.
Yeah. What do you think, David?
Sorry, Dave, go on.
I think you've all read it similar to me. I think Sporting Chili is plenty short, around about 5 to 4 now. Hello Hammond, can it back run Sporting Chili? I think the other heats that we've seen all went to the experienced dogs, isn't it? Sporting Chili's got that little bit more experience of Toaster. If Sporting Chili comes away, I think it'll hold Hello Hammond, but it's going to be interesting. I think Hello Hammond, as it goes deeper into the competition with experience, will probably be one of those progressive dogs. But tonight, I think Sporting Chili will hold Hello Hammond.
Yeah, I just thought that actually Bryce Canyon will go across, so it kind of gives Sporting Chili a good run to the turn, because I got him sort of lane 2.5 really, Bryce Canyon. So, and the fact that you're saying about the ping boxes down the middle, the fact that he's going to break and then maybe edge across might be a good ally for Sporting Chili. But are you bold enough to back him, Tom, or not?
Sporting Chili?
Yeah.
Has Hello Hammond got the ping?
We'll have an interest. Has
Hello Hammond actually got that ping? It doesn't matter whether it's got the ping box. Will it come away? Can it?
I agree. What I'm saying is probably Bryce Canyon would be the one that could easily break. So
he's had more pings in his last 5 races than he had in his whole career.
Yeah.
So he's a 586 and a 587 in Shelbourne Open 600. 695 used to be good. Right, they're in traps. I'm not going to go through them at this stage. Hello Hammond's in 3 and Sporting Chili's in 5. That's what you need to know. Here coming up behind the traps. And away they go. Hello Hammond off to a flyer. Leads into the opening turn 5 and his shoulder. Sporting Chili up the inside. Spinosaurus. But Hello Hammond will take the corner. Gets around Spinosaurus. Now Sporting Chili challenges in between runners. Hello Hammond drifts off and Spinosaurus goes to the front. Hello Hammond inexplicably headed. Here comes 5. Sporting Chili between runners. But it is Spinosaurus that leads round at 3rd. 3. Hello Hammond and 5. Sporting Chili trying to come at him. But Spinosaurus has gone to the front. And he is strong himself. He leads to the line. Spinosaurus will win from 3. Hello Hammond and 5 Sporting Chili. It was a 3-dog affair from early. Spinosaurus making a fool of me. Big run on his UK debut.
It's made fools of all of us.
Wow.
Honestly, I made him much. Again, when I did my tissue, I made Spinosaurus so much shorter. Then I looked at his weight. I nearly lifted the phone to ring James Turner, and I don't even know him, to find out. So I thought he had a massive makeup, but I thought he actually could lead Hello Hammond. So I'm the same as you, Ian. I thought it was really surprising that Hello Hammond's led and got beat.
He sort of drifts off the second, and just he seems to paddle for a few strides. I thought he did.
It's like he's lost sight of the hair or something.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, one just took advantage. Yeah. You can see Sporting Chili is always pitching. That's the strength. That's why he did the clock, because he's capable of a ping.
Yeah.
And he's very strong. Now he's looking to get out on the outside of Hello Hammond at that point.
The tangle,
they clash.
Yeah.
They clash. Now, as it is, Spinosaurus is bred to stay further and would certainly stay further than the 550 yards around Shelbourne Park. We always knew that by him. He ran well in the Shelbourne Open 600 in the early rounds as well. So he's never going to be picked up. And yeah, that's another one for the red.
Do we think there's any potential of an inside bias here? It's been 1-2, 1-3, 2-1 the winners tonight.
Yeah, well,
I think if you look at the dogs that are involved, it probably accounts for that. Like 6 there, just completely left the box as Billis Tudor. Like he's left 15 lengths. He didn't come out at all. I didn't see that in commentary. I was keeping an eye on 3. When I saw 3 popping out in front, I was like, I was counting my money, to be brutally honest.
Yeah.
But no, into the corner, 3. Hello Hammond is drifting off slightly again, but no, look, it's Spinosaurus, true line up the inside. That's where he wants to be. We said it, Paul, during the week in our little chat with Matchbook. You know, if you could paint red on him, he's one of the few specialist red runners in the competition.
Yeah, he saved a lot of ground, didn't he, Rayleigh? And again, I must admit, I had him as a decent breaker with a little bit of early pace and probably a fair bit of back straight pace, but he had a good makeup there because I thought Esky would move into lane 3. Hello Hammond would stay in lane 3. I thought Bryce Canada would go across, Sporting Chile would go across, and I thought actually Billy Tudor would go across a little bit. And I thought he had a great makeup, and I made him literally just third in it behind the main 2. And then I was just so perplexed, and you highlighted it straight away. Actually, Lorraine noticed that you noticed it as well when we did the podcast. He was so far down in weight, I just thought something had to be slightly amiss.
Yeah. Anyway, nothing slightly amiss. They're starting to parade here at Shelbourne Park, guys. Better go. I'll leave you in the capable hands of Emma Buckley, who is more than willing to answer a million questions.
Thanks so much for joining us, Ian.
Appreciate it, Ian. Thanks, mate.
Bye, Ian.
Yeah, ta-da, mate.
Good night.
He's gone.
I miss him already.
Yeah. Commentary's next from Emma. All right.
Oh, no, thanks.
Emma, your microphone's a little bit rough. At the bottom next to mute, there's a little triangle. If you click that, just see if there's a different microphone you can choose from the list.
I had the same issue. I was just going to say that Hello Hammond, I wouldn't, if you back that anti-post, I wouldn't be too disappointed.
Agreed.
I think
Totally
once
agree.
that dog starts learning the track, I mean, it's obviously coming away, but I mean, once it starts learning, it's got to be a serious dog that got to go deeper.
Yeah, agreed.
But I mean, Spinosaurus, I was going to say this before the off. What a great name for a dog. I love it when people actually come up with inventive names and they don't just, we're the worst because we obviously just go blue tick and then put a name after it. But come up with the name Spinosaurus is a great name.
Yeah. What was the 1, 2, 3? So it was Spinosaurus,
Hello Hammond, and Sporting Chile. I wonder if Sporting Chile's just going to want to be one of these dogs that needs that break, that just needs to come away and then puts the big times together, big runs together.
Plenty of the fast dogs are like that these days.
Yeah, they don't like getting in behind and then getting in a bit of a race. They get a little bit jealous and want to be off the front and have it their own way.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll put a quick update of the tipping comp up in a sec. Right, here we go. Love a spreadsheet. A few shocks tonight, but quite a few winners and seconds picked. Going down the points. Any standouts? Not many in double figures yet. There's a few naps landed. Teresa Cahill, always a good judge. Ryan Keneally, he's picked Aussie captain, Rocco's Belly, Infiltration, and Hello Hammond. So he's got 3 winners in the second, which is pretty impressive. Let's see what he's napped. Lataro. Next best in Infiltration.
Who was the one after the first 2 that had the 2 winners? Remember?
Was
Tommy Gracie, wasn't it?
Yeah, you're right. There's 100 people on here. In fact, there's 101 entries, but there only being 100 people in the group. So someone's probably had to go twice. But let's have a look. Gracie, yeah, he's doing all right. He's got Aussie captain. He's got Brocco's Belly. Second with Make Noise. Third with Sporting Chile. 15 points. Played his nap. Similar for Razor.
in these competitions, I've done the GWA one. I did it probably 4 or 5 years on the belt. When it comes to the first heats, all you want to do is just stay there or thereabouts. As long as you can kind of just back your way through and pick up the odd winner here and there. It's more in the later end of the competition where you don't want to get into a position where you're throwing Hail Marys at 20-1 shots and trying your best to try and pick up points.
Yeah. Harry said, think Turner has a nice dog in his hands there at Spinosaurus. 29.42. Not a bad run.
And Emma, tell us. Obviously, I think I spoke to your dad, and he said that they've all settled in well, the dogs. But more importantly, how are you settling in? Because obviously, I know you've been there before, but it's still. Your dad went back the weekend, didn't he? And he was telling me you had 4 out of 4 in Ireland at the weekend.
We did, yeah. It was a great weekend at home. We won the Limerick Oaks, and Tullig's surname, who might be a name for next year's English Derby, was running, and he's maintained his impeccable record. So yeah, big runner in the Lee Strand, won the Limerick Oaks. So I have to give Dad credit for that, because he was all on his own there. But yeah, look, we've settled in really well here, both the dogs and myself. This is our 5th year with June and Tony Harvey.
Is it 5th?
And,
Wow.
Yeah, 5th year, and they look after us so well. I don't know why they take us back, because my dad gives June so much grief, bless her. I don't know why she takes us back, honestly. But no, they're great here, and we love them. It's like a second home, and the kennels here, they're immaculate, and we have our own little block, which is absolutely ideal. So yeah, no, we love it here.
I do remember actually. One year we came and visited you. I visited your dad, but I can't remember. Lorraine might be able to remember, but your dad stayed at Sean White's.
He did, yeah. In our Wimbledon days, we stayed at Sean White's. The kennels were at the back of his house.
That's it, yeah.
And there was houses all around him. We were like,
That's
how's that going to work? But it worked perfectly. We got on great. We had brilliant dogs out the back of his house. So yeah, there was nothing wrong with it either, and we got a lot of winners from there.
But I suppose because I think he's only probably got about 4 kennels, hasn't he? So the fact that you've got a bigger team, you need a bigger kennel, and June fits the bill, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And when the Derby moved to Nottingham, and our team got bigger, it just kind of made more sense to come to June's. But we're still great friends with Sean White, and yeah, he's a great character himself. Yeah,
he is. Yeah, he's a good lad. Yeah, he's had a couple of decent dogs himself, to be fair, in his time.
He has.
And did you have any fancies on the card later? Tell me.
I really like Dealish Frankie. I think the whole litter is absolutely impeccable. I think the Bull Freddy will win as well. His litter brother, a very, very, very good dog. He was unlucky not to make the Kirby final. Watching it on the night in Limerick, I thought he was up. He got done the shortest nose I've ever seen for a qualification spot. So yeah, I think he's a nice bet. And although Skywalker Barry is drawn out in 4, I do give him a chance. I just think he's seriously pacing it. I think he'll take the toaster. But yeah, no, a very nice card tonight. But yeah, some nice Irish runners.
Dealish Frankie and the Bull Freddy. I didn't realise actually they're litter brothers. That Ballymac Bull just seems to be throwing some nice types as well, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. No, he's obviously a newish kind of stud dog, but throwing awful fast dogs and throwing a lot of blue dogs. That's what we found. Every Ballymac Bulge that's come into the kennel for us has been blue, but that litter itself, Dealish Frankie, the Bull Freddy, you have the snazzy bitch as well. Like, they're just an incredible litter. Everything from that litter was top class. So yeah, no, he's getting some nice pups on the ground.
Exciting stuff, yeah. And you've got how many runs you got tomorrow?
We have 7 out of 8.
Right, and then you got 1 on the Saturday.
We do, yeah. So up Friday and Saturday.
All right. And will James go with you tomorrow to help?
I believe he's up at Toaster now with my sister having pints. So that's
right.
He is. Yeah, I believe he'll be staying up there. So I'm sure he'll rock in at some stage. He thinks he's at Bula Edge, but he's another thing coming there.
Does he parade him? Yeah.
He does not. No, he's my dog, but he thinks because there's 2 dogs in the one race that he gets preference. Absolutely not.
Nah. No, he gets this. Mind you, I say he gets the special dog, but the other fella is a seriously fast dog as well, isn't he? But
He is, yeah. It was a shame to draw them both together, but
yeah,
yeah, two very fast dogs, and we're looking forward to seeing Cushy Concord out because it's his first race under us, and
yeah.
we're still learning about him as well. But he came to us in brilliant order, and we think a lot of him. From the work we've done with him at home, we think he's a nice type. So looking forward to him. That time he didn't escort, he was just freakish. It will never be done again. So yeah, very talented, I'd say.
It's that Cushy Concord's bred quite unusual, isn't it? Is it not bred from
Cushy
their own
Jet.
dog and Cushy? Ah, right, yeah, Cushy Jet.
Yeah, so Diane, who trained Cushy Concord, has Cushy Jet. She trained him and then put him to stud. So this was his first pup to hit the ground, kind of. And he seems to be throwing fast dogs as well, because this fella can certainly run. But yeah, unusual breeding, but he's as genuine as anything and a really nice dog.
I was just looking there when you obviously said Ballymac he's certainly putting some build into his pups. I mean, all of his pups are 30 odd kilo. I mean, he was a big dog himself, but I mean, he's certainly putting his stamp on them. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, he is. Every pup we've had him from him, they're a big build, and you kind of want that with a Derby dog. You want something with a bit of a big build that can get himself around a bend. But no, they're nice makes of dogs, similar to the Droopy Sydneys. They're big dogs, like.
Two minutes to the off here. I've got Delish Frankie as favourite. I must say, I thought Swift Iconic would be favourite for this, but the tipping competition has been quite heavily in favour of Delish Frankie. What do we make of this race, Emma?
Yeah, look, another cracking heat. Obviously, the maiden Derby winner on the outside of Delish Frankie and Antigua Cuddles is no bad bitch. Swift Iconic needs no introduction, and Connemara is a nice dog for Carl's Bottom. Look, it's a cracking heat, but I'll be siding with Delish Frankie. I just think he's a real nice sort of a dog for Patrick, and yeah, look, he needs no introduction himself, but the litter, like I said earlier, they're just all pacey dogs. So yeah, Delish Frankie for me, I think he's well trained.
Very good. David?
I couldn't see anything leading Swift Iconic. Obviously, it's got that quick sprint, but even sectionals over the 500, and it's for 4:12, it's absolute lightning from the boxes. If Delish Frankie holds, from two, comes up from two, and Swift Iconic can come right up that rail. We've seen the last two races. I would say the inside looks quicker than the outside. I think it's fair to say. Looking further out, Jamie Kinsley looks like he's got a nice dog there to go to war with. 29.56, got a 29.44, 4:20. So has got a bit of early pace. Antigua Cuddles. It's always been a nice dog for Mark Wallace. That could play a part, but I think for me, because of the way the inside's running at the moment, I think Iconic will come up and lead them, and it's up to them to pick that dog up.
Yeah, when I did the podcast with Ian for the Maiden Derby, I was big on Swift Iconic, and I think a lot of people, and I think you probably might agree with me, David, that a lot of punters sometimes pigeonhole dogs very, very quickly, and because he'd had two sprints, they kind of thought that he was a sprinter. So when he stepped up to 500, he'd be a short runner. But I don't think he is a short runner. I think obviously Emma will tell me in his breeding that he couldn't possibly be a short runner because Emma's team used to train his dad, Droopy's Roddick, of course.
Yeah, Droopy's Roddick himself was a seriously fast type, and wasn't too bad in an English Derby himself, to be fair.
He was good. Yeah,
Roddick
that was JT Jet, wasn't it? That was his derby, and Ayabutt led the race. Yeah.
It was, yeah. And from where we were standing, Dad was just below us, and we were on the stands in Wimbledon. I was a lot younger, but I remember the whole team thought
that from where we stood, like we weren't sure whether we had won it or not. So we were just there for a good 4 minutes, not knowing how the race
because
was on.
the JT dog was really wide, wasn't he? And the rest of the field were kind of all cuddled up on the rails. Yeah.
Yeah, so that
Yeah,
was
they were spread across the track.
I can always remember Roddick had a bit of a brain though. Quite a clever dog. Used to get himself into little trouble, little pockets, and always found a way around to get through. You know, it was never one of those never say die dogs, wasn't he? He could always get up and get right up on the line.
Yeah, no, he was just kind of an all-rounder. I remember that night in the Con Kirby, the way he was boxed, there was early all around him, and he just took this bingo break to land the Kirby and, made it look effortless. But he was just one of those dogs that you'd love to have going into a derby because he was just one who had it all.
Lots of new viewers tonight. Hello to everyone. If you're watching on YouTube, if you could please like our page, it'd be very much appreciated. And if you could like the video, that would also be good. It helps with the algorithm, and we all love an algorithm.
As much as a pie chart.
Tom, have we played here in this next race? No.
I think there's a few you can make. I mean, I quite like Connemara in 5.
Yeah,
I think that could have a ping and is open to almost unlimited improvement on that look round. There's quite a few people.
Have a little bit on him.
There's quite a few people who've actually put Connemara up as their tip for the whole competition.
Have a little bit on him and save on Swift Iconic then.
Yeah,
we'll take Emma on. We don't care.
Hello Faker Fuffle as well gets. I think just because Hello Faker Fuffle's not with a big name trainer, people don't give the dog the respect it deserves. It's a very fast type.
Yeah, he is a fast dog. I think he's got a mountain to climb to clear both 1 and 2. That's the problem. And I think Antigua Cuddle's edging as well to a certain extent. Not dive straight in, but edging. But we shall see because they're all boxed and loaded. Doesn't he look good, Chris, in his get-up? That's what you need to sell Greyhound racing. That's good. I'll get him at Lifford. Hare's running. And away and racing and 4's bolted out. Antigua Cuddle. Swift Iconic tries to drive up on the inside and finds the lead at the first turn. Swift Iconic just rubbing shoulders with Antigua Cuddles. In behind these comes Delish Frankie. Looks to get past the pair of them. They're clear then of hell of a kerfuffle. On the outside is Montine. Leave it at the back of the pack is Connemara. It's Delish Frankie who's shown a wicked turn of foot to hit the front off the last turn and storm clear. Delish Frankie wins it. For Pat Janssens again, that's 3 on the night. 4, Hella Kerfuffle was second, and Swift Iconic back in third.
That was impressive.
It was impressive.
The way he took that up around the outside, really, really impressive.
Yeah, and Emma Buckley tipped. I asked her for a tip.
Judge.
1 out of 1. Aye.
100% record, Emma.
No, look, he's a nice sort of a greyhound. I like the way on the third that he held his ground. He went on the outside. He was that bit clever, and that's what you need in a derby dog because they're not going to get their own way every single night. There'll be nights where they're in tough positions and they'll have to make a choice. But he was clever there. I like the way he ran.
I don't want to take it away from the 2 dog from what it's done because it's run fantastic race there. But you think the 1 and 4's kind of
cut each other's throats.
And kind of put it in its lap and said, right, you go on and run your race if you want.
I think they got involved in a bit of a private battle, didn't they? 1 and 4. Yeah. They were definitely interested in each other. Yeah. Evan Herbert owns Adidas Frankie along with John Porter, and I don't know the Christian name of Mr. Vogt.
Do we go all in now on the Bolt Freddy?
I really like him. I do really like the Bolt Freddy. We actually schooled him originally as a young pup, and always showed to be a special type of dog. So I like him.
I think you're getting carried away yourself. We've got Heat 6 first.
Would you bet against Patrick at the moment?
No.
Do you want to see the pie chart? Oof! Look at that. It's overwhelming.
Yeah, he was a nap on the car for me. And the thing is, as much as I'm a big fan of Patrick, I wasn't a big fan of him changing the seeding. I wasn't a big fan of the race office letting him do that either. But
I spent 3 hours in the car today, and a lot of that was spent thinking about the seeding of this dog. And I can see why he's done it, because there's so few middles and wides in this competition that if you put a middle tag on him, he would be in trap 5 or maybe even trap 6 for the majority of his races, and that's wider than where he wants to be. So to have any chance of being in the 3 box or 4 box, he's had to put him there.
So tactical seeding.
End up,
tactical seeding.
Yeah, it is tactical seeding, and this goes back to what we say on this almost every week: that having your preferred trap number. So you say, I would like my dog to be in trap 3, and then 2, and then 4, and then 1, and then 5, and then 6. That is so. Even if you just do it for the derby, that is so easy to do. So easy.
Correct.
To do.
I totally agree with that.
What can we do to make that happen? Because anyone who says that's a bad idea is literally wrong. Tell me why there's anything wrong with that. They might go, it's a bit complicated. It's not complicated. It's easy. I could whack through an Excel spreadsheet now to do it and put the dogs in there.
I did it myself on an Excel spreadsheet last year, and I gave it to Paul Illingworth, and he said, "Oh, well, I'll raise that at the next meeting." That was last September. I actually contacted him a couple of months ago. Yeah, we're still thinking about it. We're still going to discuss it.
It needs to happen. It just needs to happen. It's such a
simple way of doing it, because what will happen is the dogs such as Lataro, and Patrick will say, really, his ideal box is trap 3.
Yeah.
So if his ideal box is trap 3 and he gets trap 4, like this race, so what? So what? Yeah. But I get your point in that if he seeds middle and he draws 6 or he draws 5 with a dog, say for instance, we saw earlier on there was a dog that actually was moving off from 5. So, was it Savannah Camino? I think it might have been running up. So that you can get drawn, but 1s and 2s can get drawn, and that's fine. That's fine. It's when the likes of Sing Along Sally. I used this the other day, Emma. When the likes of Sing Along Sally and Park Blake, you saw those at Limerick. They were 1 and 2. It's perfect. And you wouldn't have minded, obviously, if you was in 1 with Sing Along Sally and he was in 2. But the problem comes when you go Lataro in 1 and Sing Along Sally in 2. That is blatantly wrong.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think every dog having their preferred box, like you were mentioning, wouldn't be a bad thing at all. Having Sally out in 4, you want to cry when that kind of a draw comes out. But if you had a dog, then if she was in 4 and you had a dog on her inside, then moving off, then you're going to get completely killed. And it's all about keeping them as safe as possible. So look, it's a difficult one, and it's a debate that I think we'll be having for a long while.
But that's what I'm saying. You say it's a difficult one, Emma, but like Tom said, it's not really difficult if you try it and see how it works. Because I also think that there should be a panel, and it should be taken out of the hands of the trainer to a certain extent. So everyone knows that, for instance, Dear Jet Sydney wants to be trap 1, and everyone knows that Bocco's Belly wants to be trap 3. So let's try that. Let's make sure so that we don't get Bocco's Belly in 1 and Dear Jet Sydney in 2, and they're doing that at the start. Let's try and get it. And if Dear Jet Sydney and Sing Along Sally are both draw 1, and they both want 1, and Dear Jet Sydney gets drawn 2 and she gets drawn 1, so what? That is now dog racing. That's fine. But it's when the dogs that want 3 get drawn red, and the dogs that want 1 get drawn 4. That's where it's wrong, in my opinion. And that's what can happen in with this sort of seeding in the derby. So get it sorted.
You get it all the time, and we argue about this. Or it raises its head every derby.
Yeah,
it's the fact that they don't want to trial anything new. I know some people have said, "Well, why don't we add a seed and have the extra middle seed, middle inside or middle outside, and they are wide, and then why don't they just try it? Try it at a track and just say, right, you know what? We'll give it a go. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work." At least then they can say, look, we've actually done something about this. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We call it tactical seeding. We want safe seeding. You want your dog to get round the track without getting injured. I mean, I can't be hundreds of times, but so many times I was in the position with George, who's a bang railer, getting put out in 5 or 4. And then, I mean, even Toaster last year in that Madrid Exceptional Cup, he was out in 5. And you're just thinking, you know what, I'm just going to have to put my hands over my eyes here. What's going to happen at this first bend? And it's not that you want tactically, I want one because I want to win the race, and that's the best for me. You just want a clean run race, don't you, where the dogs are not going to get injured or turned over.
Correct. Yeah, you do, mate. Yeah, you do.
It's the old "if it ain't broke, don't fix it" attitude, and I hate that. I used to work for companies that had that sort of attitude, and I've got my own business now, and if I see something's wrong, I change it. And it frustrates me when I see other businesses still in that old-fashioned way. And Greyhound racing is a business.
It's a gambling sport.
Greyhound Racing PLC is the product.
Correct. You're totally right. And it is a gambling sport, and bookmakers are there to take bets, and they forget that it's a gambling sport because they're scared that someone might have an edge on them because they don't want to invest in putting up the correct odds. But
this isn't a UK and Irish argument, just UK and Ireland either. This argument extends to Australia, and they start in a chute, and they have a hare that's in the middle of the track, and they still have. It's all right when they've got a long straight to sort themselves out, but they have arguments there. And I've had conversations with Cal Greeno, who's got wow, she's fast, and he'll tell me we have the same thing when we start on a bend. Some of their races start on a bend, even though they're in a chute. And he's argued for God knows how many years for them to have seeding. Just even a middle inside, they have nothing in Australia.
Yeah, actually, funny enough, I was talking to Neil Price and Emma will know Dolores Ruth, and apparently they asked Dolores Ruth to go out there, and I think she's been discussing about how Australia can go about seeding greyhounds. I mean, obviously, Emma, from your point of view, even the Irish, you say, "Oh, where does that dog want to be?" And they go, "Oh, inside," and yet there are dogs that blatantly don't want to be drawn in one, and they move into the middle of the track. And you think, why do you think that being drawn in one is an advantage when you're going to be moving off a true line? And that's what the premise of what I do, and I write down where a lane of every dog, Emma, where they want to be. And that's what that's the thing I do with Derby lanes. And I just think you'd probably agree with me. Dogs want to run in straight lines to get their optimum fastest time.
Yeah, 100%. Look, like David said earlier, it's not about wanting to win the race or I need this box to win the race. It's I need this box to keep my dog safe going around the bend. It's so simple. It really could be done. So hopefully they listen. But that's the thing, will they?
Exactly.
Probably not. Yeah. Latoro 2-1 on.
I think it's a good thing. Do you know what I did though? I got to hold my hands up, and I did ask Ian Fortune this as well, and Emma probably might be able to give us an opinion on this. I actually thought Ballymore Border showed flashes of ability in the Conan and Kirby Memorial at Limerick, and he actually ran Swords Rex, the eventual winner, to 4 lengths in one of the rounds. So it'd be interesting to see what Emma thought.
Yeah, that's a nice bit of form to have, considering what Swords Rex has done, and even last weekend, that time that he put on a clock around Clonmel was savage. So yeah, look, Ballymore Border, he's a dog with really nice ability. It's nice to see him with McKenna travelling over as well and having a runner. He's had a brilliant few years recently. But yeah, look, a really nice type pup. But Lataro probably is the correct price. I really like him there tonight.
There's a hell of a lot of people with anti-quote bets on this Amaze Me Seb. The amount of people that have told me I've got this as an each way shot to go through. So a lot of people will be interested in Amaze Me Seb.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it is a dog like the Liam Dowling dog. Might just get a little bit outpaced early and might be looking for room later on to try and qualify.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the other thing is with this dog, David, I've got him kind of lane 4 really, which I don't really think he's double wide necessarily, but the fact that I suppose he can stay out of trouble and he seems to be able to pass a dog anyway. But I wouldn't be convinced he necessarily wants trap 6.
Just on the breeding side as well, it's half brother to the likes of Clara Lion, to all of them. It's out of that Clara Lizzie. So the pedigree's certainly there to go deep in this derby.
And like Ian said, is that right, Emma? The Droopers Jets tend to stay well.
Yeah. We've had plenty of them through our kennels, and they all seem to stay.
Yeah.
We've had a few Droopers Jets in our kennel come through that have a nice bit of early as well. But I love the Droopers Jets. It's a strong stud dog. There's strong lines there, and like David said, this dog is bred to be a good one. So hopefully he can go well.
It's interesting because Jet himself wasn't what you'd call a sort of staying type dog, was he? He was
Was he Fraser Blacks, wasn't he?
I think so.
Droopers Jet?
Yeah.
Thought he was. Anyway, here we go then. This is Heat 6. Hot favourite trap for Latoro. Or is it Lataro? And away and racing, and he's gone bingo from the boxes and roars into the first bend and is already 4-5 lengths clear of I'm to Blame, who's going to turn second. Ballymore Border is in third spot, and then comes the 2, Rastafari Mario. Down the far side, though, and Lataro's in a bit of a hurry here. He's put daylight between himself and the rest of the field now. Ballymore Border starts to get busy and starts to work closer, but off the last turn, 4 is in supreme isolation. Lataro scores for Patty Jansen's a 4-timer. It was Ballymore Border in second, and Amaze Me Seb sneaking up on the inside to grab that all-important qualifying spot.
That was impressive.
Smash!
It's nice to see that Patrick's got that type of dog to go through a derby after the injury to what was the other one called that he had that picked up an injury?
Good to see him die for the Rouse there, wasn't it?
I'll tell you what, you put your money in the bank earning 2% a year, you could have been backing that at 1 to 2 with the whole lot of them.
Lorraine said, could that be a track record?
No.
Pulling 28.84, is that a guess?
Yes. That is a guess.
28.84. Paul might be at the track, though.
No, it can't be that fast.
It is 28.84. Oh my goodness!
I told you, my missus, her eyes don't deceive her.
That is your derby favourite. That is going to be what's that going to be in the morning? 6 to 1.
Could easily be. And Patrick has been singing the praises of him all the time. To be fair, he has. He said, this is a fast dog.
I'm going to put it down now. Nothing will go faster than that has today in the derby.
The track isn't that fast, though, is it? It's not like the track's on fire. 28.84.
That is insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is absolutely nuts.
What's a sectional? The sectional must have been lightning as well.
Yeah. He just smashed, didn't he?
He's come out like he's on fire. Yeah.
Yeah, just smashed. And one was moving off there, by the way. I had that lane 2 3/4, by the way, Emma, for Derby Lanes. Watch that. PL was right. His videos were working.
PL is really wrong.
Really.
Don't encourage him.
Oh, dear. I did all my work for Derby Lanes before, and then we got confused, me and JK, and he said, no, it's after round 1. But I do them anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And I knew that had a good draw there, Lataro. That was just a perfect draw for him. And that's why I'm saying, I actually think Patrick putting Lataro rails could get him beat in the derby. Now, there's a
because he might end up inside the dog.
If he draws 1, he won't go like that.
Yeah,
he won't do that break. I just don't care what you say, because when you're seeded rails, Emma, this is what I'm talking about, optimum times with clear runs. It's a bit like I'm to blame there. Moving off. You don't, when you want to run your fastest time, you don't want to be doing that. You want to be doing that.
Yeah, 100%. Look, when Sally's in one, she's not heading anywhere else. She's heading straight up that rail and around the bend, you know. So
Yeah.
look, dogs need to be in their correct traps for, like you said, optimum speed. But
Yeah, I mean,
look,
I think
that
the worst
was
trap she
serious
probably
fun.
wants to be in, Emma, is probably 3. But I said to your dad, actually, I did say this to her, because when she was first racing, if you like, all she wanted to do was go for them rails. But now she's, I believe, now she's matured. She actually knows she doesn't have to do that. And when there's a dog on her inside, she just bides her time and then edges it in. And that is all about a greyhound in herself, in a special greyhound that learns how to race.
Yeah, she's incredibly clever. She was a nut for the rails when we first started her. Even when we were schooling her, we couldn't put anything on her inside. I think we made that mistake once when we first started her, and we said never again.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was just a rails fanatic. I remember we drew 4 for the final in the juvenile classic, and you know, we were fearing the worst, but she just took a bingo break and was able to clear her inside. But she has, like you said, now that she's had more racing and she's matured and, you know, she's become this brilliant competition bitch in front of us. She's very sharp, and hopefully, you know, her class will pull her through tomorrow night. But look, it's tricky. We obviously saw the match race she had with Park Lake in Limerick, but it's different circumstances now that they're out in 3 and 4. So, you know, it's hard.
Yeah, and the thing you always think as well, we've been talking about this, and Tom's been sort of speaking about it as being the kind of the quicker, the smash boxes, if you like. The danger is obviously you really do expect Park Blake to come flying out the traps, didn't you? You do expect to do that, and for you then to go and lead him. I still believe. I said to this to your dad. I still believe that she can mind herself and she could drop in behind him anyway. I think that when she sees a dog on her inside, she'll just say, "Well, I don't need to go across to the rails yet." But like you say, when in the final you said where she was out of 4, she smashes, then the comfort blanket is going for the rails because there's clear daylight. It's when there's a dog inside her, she's now intelligent enough not to smash into that dog on her inside, and that I think that's what makes a really special greyhound.
Yeah, look, that's what you need going into a derby as well. You need a greyhound with a little bit of, you know, class to them and a little bit of track craft. That's where she is special, you know. She's crafty as anything, and she's so game. Whether she's in front, whether she's behind, if she can hear something coming from behind her, like she hates it. Even on the gallop, like she wants to be out in front the whole time. So yeah, look, fingers crossed for her.
But David, my missus just texted me. She said it's called a racing brain.
It is. I've got when she finishes, I've got a stud dog here that you can use. I've got Blue Tick George in the living room. Feel free to use it.
Will do. We pop down. They'd make some nice colours, I reckon.
Oh, they would definitely. To be fair, George has just covered 2 bitches now, so one's blue and white for Davy Titterton, and he's just covered basically a bitch that's identical to him, just a little bit smaller, but she's all blue as well. So they'd have some nice pups.
Yeah.
Is it true that once you start breeding them, they get a bit of a taste for it, and suddenly that becomes their main interest in life?
It's difficult to begin with until they know that that's their job. I spent a bit of time. Tom Heilbronn's taken George up there, so he got the kind of idea. He's just came from a racing kennel. I've retired, and now this is my new job. Now he's covered a couple of bitches. He's absolutely fine. Like literally, if the bitch is ready, you can take George to her, and it's game on, job done. It doesn't really change their personality or their attitude. If anything, he's like probably walking around about 37, 38 kilo now. And when you take him out for a walk, he tries to pull your arm off to get to the car because he thinks if I'm getting in that car, I know what's going to happen at the end of it. So he like drags you to the car thinking, right, I need to get in that car. The amount of times the missus has said, you know what? I've just put him in the car because he's just doing my head in now. And he's sat in the car thinking, I need to go. But it doesn't change them. It doesn't change what they are or their attitude or anything.
Yeah, we
Race-
did him at Sydney.
Go on, Emma.
He's in the race kennel Sydney still. Like, he's in the exact same kennel he won the Derby from. Like, it will never change. It will always be Sydney's kennel. And he'll go off, he'll do his job. That's absolutely fine. But at the end of the day, he still thinks he's a race dog. Like, when we're getting dogs out to gallop, he is barking at you. He's ready to go. Like, so yeah, they never forget what they're made for and what they love to do. But yeah.
No, it's funny. It's funny you should say that, because we got invited down to Yarmouth with George to lead out the finalists to the George Ings that he won last year, and taking him on the track. The kids came with us, took him on the track. It was so difficult to control because he was shaking with excitement and like pulling 37 kilo, like dragging me, thinking, I just need to get to the traps. That's all he could focus on. And when we had to take him off the track so he couldn't race, it was like sheer devastation for him. Like, you know, you couldn't even look at him. He was like looking away every time he said his name. He was like, because it's always in their head, isn't it?
It is, yeah. We sponsored a little stake in Limerick. It was Deerjet Sydney at Stud, and they said, you know, we were going to ask if we could bring him in to lead out the final, but we just said it will break his heart if we bring him in. So we'll give him a gallop at home instead, and hopefully he'll be happy. But yeah, no, it's brilliant. I'm looking forward to seeing Sydney's pups. It's funny because everyone else who's had their pups so far, he's covered maybe 30 bitches, and I think maybe 4 bitches have had their litters. We had a litter to New and Liz, and they're all black, and everybody else has got white and brindles, dark brindles. I was the only one who didn't get a white brindle, so I was good. But yeah, no, they're good.
It's an exciting part, isn't it? Like, I'm really excited to see George's pups, to be fair. Like, I think the kids are wanting to take home the first pup that he produces, but it's the next stage. It's really exciting. I'm down at Toaster next week, taking him down for the retired not rescued stuff. So yeah, it's really exciting stuff.
Yeah, no, it is. It's great. And watching your kids like on social media, it's so lovely. Because I remember being like their age and loving it as much as like you see them loving it. So it's lovely.
Oh, they're obsessed with him. My son Joshua, he's obsessed with Greyhound racing. Like, I took him to Toaster and he stood up in the box with Kevin Boothby, telling Kevin Boothby, this will win, that'll win, that'll win. So they're both massively into it, but you've got to start them young, haven't they? It's great to see. You see a lot more now, you know, people putting the kids on there with the dogs and showing the, you know, a different side of it. But you've got to start young. We all started young.
Emma Gray, 4, 5, and 6 in there. Good to see not all raiders going through in that race. Absolutely kiboshed my theory of there being inside bias. And Kim has said, let's hope connections see scent and seed middle before the next round. That is very true. You can change the seeding, can't you?
Yeah.
I think.
Do you think there's got to be 2 issues for Latoro here? One, is the dog revved up too much to begin with? Because we all know when you're going into a derby, you kind of want to grow into the competition. You don't want to go 100%.
Is that as much the case now, though? When we had the 3 runs in a week, I 100% agree with that. You didn't want them because you didn't want them too tired for that. But now it's every week. That's a decent recovery time for running around for 30 seconds.
To be fair, he did a 29.23 in his solo, Davey, didn't he? So if it was a fast track and he can't, I mean, that was a 4.18. He must have done a 4.0 something there. Must have done.
Yeah.
It's a difficult one. Emma will know better than me. Obviously, she has loads of derby dogs. I mean, when we took George, we got to the quarterfinals and he got lost in the Bermuda Triangle. That's the 3rd bend at Nottingham. But I mean, we got deep into the competition with him, and he had just ran really well at Central Park. And then we went into that, and he went through the rounds. And then we thought, is he a bit tired? And we brought him back for the stayers, and he ended up winning the stayers. So I think some dogs can handle the races week in, week out at the top level. I think some dogs produce flashy times and then maybe go off the boil a little bit. It maybe is a myth, but some people do like to take the dogs maybe 80% into a derby and grow into the competition. And the second thing is Latoro gonna get? Will they get the seat, the box that they want every week?
Yeah, look, I mean, for us, we usually come into the competition with them slightly undercooked. I know a lot of people will say that, but all our dogs will need that little bit of a run. And when Sydney won the Derby that first year, he only got the one trial around Nottingham. Similar to last year, our whole team only got one trial around Toaster beforehand, and then they get a 10-day break and into the competition. And you have to think they're going to be running 6 weeks in and out, so you're just hoping that they're recovering. But it's a long enough run into the pickup at Toaster as well. You have to take that into consideration too. So, each dog is going to be different, of course, but maybe having him that bit fresher going in, is a good thing. But some dogs are just like Latara, they're just smashed out and did his run, and he can continue to do that. There's no one saying he can't. He's a special type of a greyhound.
I think you've hit the nail on the head, though. I don't think people realise how long it is from the line to the pickup at Toaster. It is a good old run to it. And I mean, Toaster's a hard 500 as it is, and they're going all the way around there. You see a lot of dogs fight. I know of some dogs in the Derby last year, because obviously the Tavati angle. I know a lot of people phoning me wanting Tavati, saying the dogs are finding it difficult from the line to the pickup. They are, feeling it.
Yeah, no, it is long. Like, especially the Irish dogs would be used to the pickup. It's usually just off the second bend, so they're not running halfway down the back straight to get to the pickup. So yeah, no, it is tough, and they're still chasing what's in front of them. They're still going full belt, like, so they're not slowing down by any means. But yeah, look, it's tough at Tosha. You have to be a strong dog enough to go 6 rounds there.
Yeah. Did you press any buttons here, Tom?
I'm tracking the price.
Just trying to find an angle to get in here on the Bold Freddy.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had any sense before that race, you would have maybe doubled up the Bold Freddy with Latoro, especially after what you'd just seen from the Bold Freddy's little brother.
Yeah, interesting. I thought one of the other good things on the card was Priceless Jet, but now you kind of look at the wires, you think, is he or not? But I wonder whether, in the trial stakes last year, he broke the clock, didn't he, Priceless Jet? But it might be the fact that I think, mate, do you want to be off the front? No, mind you, he came from off the back, did he? Dealish Frankie, so maybe not. Maybe not. Drifting out to a price now, Tom?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for someone to take a bit of my money.
Are you're fishing?
Yeah. Yep, I'm fishing. Oh no, it's gone the other way. It's emotional, this. So I've asked for a 2.44. It could still come back as a gap. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Is that Oliver playing up?
He is. Oh, he's relentless, the young man. Absolutely relentless. Giving his mother hell.
Oh dear.
There we go. We've got the lot. Well, almost. There it is. We're in.
And Emma, did you say, have you got to let the dogs out?
Yeah, at about 8:30 I might pop off.
Yeah.
Okay. That's right. So this will probably be your last race then, yeah?
It will be, yeah, because they'll start giving out otherwise, because the minute it hits 8:30, they know. And,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
I'll tuck Dan Labula Eden to bed for you, don't worry.
Yeah, give him a kiss from me.
If you could.
No worries. I'll give him all the treatment, don't worry.
Yeah.
They are an amazing creature of habit, though, aren't the Greyhounds? Like, it's crazy the habits that they like, and the way they get into this routine. And if they fall outside of that routine, I mean, I've sat there on Teams trying to work with George there in my ear, back and loud in my ear, basically saying, "Take me out now."
Yeah.
They do. They're not silly. Like, they know exactly when they're going out, exactly when they're being fed. And once they're setting a routine, that's it. Like, we kept the exact same routine that we have at home here at June's, and it's the exact same to them. So yeah, look, they're very intelligent animals.
Yeah.
Do you find it a massive advantage then, actually basing yourself in the UK? I would imagine it is, obviously, but for obvious reasons. But I'd assume a lot of the Irish don't actually base themselves in the UK throughout the competition.
Yeah, we find that it's always worked for us. We've been so lucky here at June Harries as well. I know Liam Dowling is based here. He usually, camps up here, and I think the Hollands do stay for a certain part of it as well. I just think it's nice to stay here. They can keep their own routine. It's very important to keep them in their routine, and if you're missing a day traveling forwards and backwards, they're out of that routine, and there's also a risk that they'll get tired traveling over and back after a big run around Toaster. So yeah, look, you do and give yourself the best chance of going far in this derby, and for us that's giving up a few weeks of our lives and staying here. But look, we couldn't have any better facilities where we are, in fairness.
I suppose that's in the hope that you have got a good traveller if you are coming from Ireland every time. Not all dogs are the best of travellers, are they?
Yeah, exactly. And some people will be bringing over younger type dogs, the ones that were kind of in the Kirby and all of them, they wouldn't be used to just yet getting on a boat and coming over. It might be fine if you've done it before, but you don't know how any dog is going to react. Thankfully, all our dogs travelled well and they've settled well. But yeah, look, we're happy enough staying here, and it just gives them a nice chance to relax as well before the competition gets started.
I think that's important, Emma. I think the fact that you're at June's and you're happy at June's, you can tell that when seeing your dad and the big, you have to laugh about the big telly and stuff like that. But the fact that he's there and he's happy, I think the fact that you're happy as people, that then transcends to the dogs as well.
Oh, it does, yeah. Sally is absolutely bouncing around the paddocks out there. Like, they literally jump straight into their beds because it's as if they had been here before.
Yeah.
But Dad is certainly happy. He's in the room next door watching the Derby heats. June has made him a roast dinner in hand at all times. So, yeah, he's well looked after.
Yeah.
Wave the flag then, heat 7. And the favourite here is the Bold Freddy for Peter Cronin Trap 2. Her approaches. And they're away and racing, and the Bold Freddy has come out with aplomb. Chelmsford trying to rush up on the inside, tightly packed. But the Bold Freddy goes round in front from Not to See Gem, the other early bird, who's trying to keep him company along with Chelmsford just in behind. Then comes Dapper Rodney, who will be trying to look for room in behind him. Next is Droopy's Good Time and Little Seven at the back. But the Bold Freddy has gone beyond recall. He's gone 4 or 5 lengths clear and staying on stoutly in the closing stage is impressive. The Bold Freddy wins and wins by a street. Dapper Rodney qualifies his second. Droopy's Good Time back in third.
We talk about fine margins on here a lot. He has barely got round that first bend without getting his back legs taken out.
Yeah. And that was the break that won him that, because that was always going to be a problem, I think, Tom, as well, because Chelmsford did have decent pace himself.
Yeah.
But, for a dog with little inexperience, Emma, and the fact that he's not got a lot of experience at Tota as well, he did really well.
He has, yeah. Look, his pace has certainly pulled him through there, but he's a talented sort of dog. Trapped well. Like you said, it was tight going into that bend. You weren't sure if he was going to make it around, but he was brave enough to throw himself around it, and he went on about his job brilliantly once he hit the front. But yeah, he's a dog who has really good speed, and that litter, like I said, is very, very talented.
There won't be many that can match his middle pace. He's got awesome gears. Gears.
Yeah. Well, that looks a sub 29 second run to the eye.
It does.
What's the Lorraine thing?
Yeah. What's Lorraine saying?
Oh, she said she wants to let you go because she knows you got to let out the dogs. That's what it is. Now, what do you think time-wise? Broke 29, she says.
No,
not the clock, but broke 29.
29, 23.
She was wrong about that. She has to be wrong once in her lifetime, so it's all right.
Yeah. Right, we better let Emma go. Emma, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Hopefully, we can get you back on for another night of the Derby.
Definitely. Thanks so much for having me, lads. It's been great crack.
It's been smashing.
Thanks, Emma.
Thanks very much.
Bye, Emma.
Speak soon. Bye. Give my regards to Pat and June and the team.
I will do. Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Cheers.
I am. Now, going on them 2 runs, you would not be able to tell me, looking at them 2 runs, that wasn't. No, it was as quick, but there is a bit of a difference between that track record and that run there.
5 lengths slower.
But David,
Yeah.
isn't that where times get you at it? It's not, and this is what I'm saying. Lautaro, in my opinion, had very, very little to beat, and his price reflected that. He was 2 to 1 on. If he started, it looked a gimme, and he came out through the bar, so that made his task easy. We know he stays all day. To be fair to De Bold Freddy, he probably didn't bingo. He just broke okay. His pace took him there, and then, like you say, actually, he did show good 2 to 3 as well. So, you know, in a different scenario, maybe De Bold Freddy could break better. But you're right. I suppose in that respect, 29, 23, and 28, 80, whatever it was, is a big difference, isn't it? As you say, it's 5 lengths.
But it's 5 lengths, but there's maybe 3 at the box.
Yeah,
You think about it that way.
That's what I mean.
Probably 3 at the box. So
that dog, De Bold Freddy could probably break better than that, if you get what I mean. But what I'm saying, on your eye, you're going dog for dog, and Chelmsford isn't a slouch to the turn.
I did look there. What did he do last week? He did it's a mid 15 second sprinter, 15:79 sprinter at Toasty. It's got loads of early pace. So that was in my head when I watched that, and I thought, well, if that came away and the Bold Freddy's outbroke it, that's why I couldn't really work out where the 5 lengths was.
Chelmsford, he actually was trained by Peter Cronin, and he was in last year's Derby. He was Angry Dad, and they changed his name.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so Angry Dad was quite prominent. I think he won. Did he win the plate? I'm not sure. He might have won the plate. Listen,
it's one of the viewers will know.
He went. He was
like Rain Man on the chat. Someone will have it to hand.
He ran. He ran. He ran well in the Derby. He just certainly ran well in the Derby. I know Peter Cronin trained him. So yeah. Obviously, Lee Harris is buying quite a few dogs now, isn't he? And with giving him the Chelms prefix, but he's not a bad yardstick for an early pace dog, Chelmsford. And I thought De Bold Freddy was equally his match, and then some. So
Lautaro 407. He's absolutely
wow.
Yeah, you wouldn't. And again, when
I'm not shocked.
No, exactly not, because he came out through. He smashed out. But in my eyes, Lautaro isn't an early pace greyhound. He isn't a early pace greyhound. He's just an all round fast dog. And when he does a 407 sectional, I defy it. I mean, I don't think. I mean, Ian was saying about Hello Hammond. Hello Hammond, that sort of ilk of a dog. That they're not back running him. Don't. Yeah. Patrick keeps saying this is a fast dog, but he's not a consistent dog. So when he does the 420 odd, he's not going to lead. Now he's got to battle to get back into the contest, because the likes of De Bold Freddy, if De Bold Freddy and Lautaro break level, De Bold Freddy leads Lautaro. So now Lautaro's got work on his hands.
What came third in that last race? I'm just updating the spreadsheet.
I'm not sure. I was too busy watching
same. Someone in the chat could confirm. That'd be appreciated. We know De Bold Freddy won. That's without doubt. I feel quite smug with my anti-post on De Bold Freddy.
Good.
Yeah, I feel quite smug. I'd be happier having that than Lautaro. I don't know why. I think it's the style of running. Yeah.
It's a hard one to say. I mean, you're taking a dog that's around 5 lengths slower on the same night. I know,
but it's to the eye and what it's done against the dog and the brave at the I don't know.
The problem is you put your brain into gear and you start thinking, what if it doesn't get its box? What if it doesn't do this? What if it doesn't do that? What if Lautaro gets 3 every week or 4 every week?
Yeah.
And breaks
what if it gets 1 every week?
Yeah. So It's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, Lataro, I'm just looking through its form. Lataro's off of 427s, did a 29.38, which is excellent. So even if it doesn't break, it's still got awesome middle and goes right to the line. But
Right, spreadsheet nerds, I've got a treat for you. Got an update on the runnings. Quite a lot of green here. I am going to change it next week so that you get.
What does green mean then?
It just
Winning
means
dogs.
you've got points on the board. I will change it next week so that it changes colour for whether you come first, second, or third. But the algorithm has just to. I mean, the formula I've had to put in is that for working out the naps and next best, and it's just melted my brain. So yeah, that's all we're getting this week. Right, any big points on the board here? I'll run it down slowly so that everyone can have a good look. So 23 is quite a few naps now gone in. I think my nap and next best have both come in, so I'm an absolute shrewdie, but no real standout scores at the moment. There you are. 16 points.
I think I'll take 16, really.
Yeah, you're still in the hunt.
Yeah, early on I was out with the washing, but 16, I think I'll take that for now.
Yeah, I think so. Ryan, who with his early pace has lost their chums Fred. Warren doesn't like my colour selection. I'm just a person, Warren.
Ryan will get dizzy at the top. I've seen him on Derby final night. He'll get dizzy.
Yeah. Mark Bonser, what are you doing? What's happened?
6 points.
He's gone clever. He's gone clever. Yeah.
You see these people, you do see them. They go for Hail Marys early doors and think, I'll strike a big lead and then I can kind of mess around.
With this many people, I mean, the amount of repetition in the result, I've got 19. Not too bad.
I think you'd take 19.
I've tried to be clever. I put fake fuffle in there. Yeah, there we go. Napa next best landed.
Yeah.
What can you say? This one here's got the Napa and next best both as Lataro. So we'll have to check that.
I can't remember who our next best is. I honestly can't remember. I know Napa Lataro, but I have no idea our next best.
The number of variants of spelling, we don't even know for sure how to say it. A number of spellings of Lataro, it's just mad. Because it needs to be spelled correctly for the spreadsheet to work, and had to do an awful lot of corrections. But fair play to Dave for putting the competition on. Thank you, Dave Branch. Good show, guys. Massive thanks to Emma and Tom for support the tipping comp, promoting it on the show. £295 raised for Links Greyhound through entry fees and donations. Really good, and I'm sure whoever wins it will be putting a few quid more in as well. A few of the Shrewdies have topped up the prize pot as well, so there's a good chunk to play for. If you haven't entered, it's too late. It is too late, but look out for it next year. He does it every year.
Yeah, happening.
Time for my usual corporate announcement. If you sign up to Matchbook using the code Watchalong, you can get a £30 free bet if your first bet loses. Terms and conditions apply. We're not affiliates. We don't get a share of net losses, anything like that. It just lets Matchbook know that people watching Greyhound Watchalong are signing up for them. It helps them support us, which is appreciated. So if you haven't got a Matchbook account yet, please sign up, use code Watchalong and show your support for the boys. And if you could please like and subscribe on YouTube, it would be very, very, very much appreciated. That's all. PL is not on mute, but quiet. I don't know what's happened.
No, I'm on mute. Sorry.
There we go.
I was on mute. I was just saying, the fact that you subscribe doesn't mean to say you're signed into anything. It just means that YouTube know that you like our channel.
Yeah. Yeah, it allows for more organic discovery of the channel, the more people who watch it, rather than us just having to punt it out on Twitter absolutely relentlessly.
Yeah.
I think we do need to go back over your theory, Tom, that you would choose the Bold Freddy over Lataro.
Yep.
I don't.
Latoro has to do what he's done every single week. He has to smash out like that. Bold Freddy can miss it a beat and still has the pace to get into the bend in a pitch or even turn in a pitch as long as he doesn't get bumped. That's going to get him through this competition.
So this is interesting. So David, you're raising your eyebrows there. You don't necessarily agree with Tom's opinion.
I understand where Tom's coming from,
But you don't agree with him.
I think no. It's not that I don't agree with him. I never disagree with Tom. It's just
That's what it's all about. Go on, call me on
That's what I'm saying. I want to know because I do agree with Tom. And again, I'm not ganging up on you, but I agree with Tom. I'm not. And this is the thing: it's only the example that I would give to you with the track record holders, such as the Cahill dog, a Sporting Chile. He does a 4.0. What was it? 4.06 or 09 sectional, but generally he does a 4.20.
Yeah.
So he does the flashy run, and the times get you at it. You said yourself, and this is why I said to you at the time, the Bold Freddy. Wow, that was a great. It's on the eye. It's what you perceive as pace. And Tom's saying the Bold Freddy has got raw pace. Latoro went bang, and we know.
I absolutely agree.
And beat a moderate field.
I absolutely agree. But you just watch Latoro there do the perfect run round Toaster. Up until today, that is the perfect run. If early pace, middle, went to the line strong, doesn't matter what it beat. It could have beat anything. It was a perfect run. It did a 28, what was it? 28, whatever. What track record? You've just watched the dog run straight after that. That's run 5 lengths slower. Yeah.
But this is what I'm saying to you, David. Sometimes times are they're irrelevant. Do you
remember musical Gaga, the Stain Dog?
Yeah.
That used to go around Romford in 24 seconds in a solo.
Correct.
In a race, that would be doing 25.
And Roxo Magic would fly around Wimbledon in the 4. But it's a bit like someone said on this show, Tom, that Space Jet did a flashy 29 time at. I'd put her in the Derby. She's not going to get a run. And Latoro will not lead Derby class races because he hasn't got enough early to lead them. So he's got to do it the hard way. He won't be breaking a track record in the semi-final of a Derby.
And that's why I love this sport. It's all a game of opinions.
It's not crabbing him. He's a fast dog. He's just proved he's a fast dog. I'm not saying he's not a fast dog, but we're talking about winning a Derby, and that's where. And Patrick knows it. He's not a consistent dog. He will not do, like Tom said, he will not do a 4.08 or 4.0 city sectional every day of the week. He just won't do it.
But so, in your opinion, you think that the Ball Freddy will go deeper in the Derby than Latoro?
I didn't say that.
Not necessarily.
No, I didn't say that. Like Lorraine said, put him in a match. Who would you want to be in the match? And probably
you'd be Latoro every day of the week.
Probably you'd say Latoro. Exactly.
You would. Yeah.
Tom's the same. And Lorraine might go, well, hang on. But I'd say the Bold Freddy will lead the Toro. But I would say if the Toro was on his daily coming up the last, he'd outstay him.
Yeah, I'm only playing devil's advocate.
But we don't run the Derby in a 2-dog format. That's what I'm saying to you.
That's it. And both dogs, I think, are absolutely superb. And I think the Ball Freddy will grow into the competition. The more times it goes around that track, the better it'll get. And I was as impressed as everybody else with its middle pace, and it went right to the line strong. But I can't take anything away from Latoro. That's just ran the perfect race round Toaster.
Yes, yeah.
Will it do it every week? Who knows what it'll do every week? It might do, it might not. But it is interesting how, and that's why I came back to it. It's interesting why some people can look at one race and then the next race, and one's ran slower or whatever it might be, and instantly say, well, I'd rather go with that one than that one. So, and it is all on your eyes. And we do probably put far too much weight on the clock.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see how both dogs develop as the competition goes on.
Yeah,
and again, I don't go. As I said about Latoro season, I don't agree with Patrick. If I was going to put a dog, if I had a fair dog, a Derby class dog, it would go to Patrick's, and I've got no hesitation about that. at all. But
Okay, a couple of minutes to off here. We can come
don't
back
agree
to
with me on
come
the
back to that
Surrey
one.
seeding, and
Yeah.
so that's it. I actually think he could get Lataro beat by keeping him round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, couple of minutes to off here. I started the week fancying Ballymac Fair one, but
Yeah,
the more I
me
looked
too.
at videos and the race, the more Skywalker Barry became attractive. And he is a dog very similar in running style to the Bold Freddy. He's not necessarily always the quickest away, but just has tremendous pace into the bend and a decent bit of track craft to get round. And he's just got a real engine to get round dogs. So I'm favouring Skywalker Barry in this race, but wouldn't be shocked to see Ballymac Fair one win.
Yeah, that's the thing is that you're right. They are very closely matched, and I think at the rate level, Skywalker Barry will struggle to get around Ballymac Fair on me, but it's on the break.
Yeah,
I've gone with Skywalker Barry. I think got the early pace, nice little draw in the middle, box 4, should ping away. I would have, if Fair one had maybe been in 3, it might have been a different race for me. But I think from where Skywalker Barry is, I think he'll lead these.
I agree.
I did have a look at Bocco's Lear, because obviously we know that Graham Box doesn't buy bad dogs, and he's got some nice form in Ireland, but 16:03, 15:90 sprints, one to watch for me.
There's running. There's Heat 8. And away and racing, and Skywalker Barry has come flying out the boxes and will lead into the turn ahead of Ballymac Fair one, who gets up on the inside of Bocco's Lear. Then behind these comes Havana Busso, who just found trouble there coming out the second turn. Freedom Sky is next, and at the back is Antigua Big, and into the third turn. And it is Skywalker Barry with Ballymac Fair one trying to close now as they come off the last. They're well clear of Bocco's Lear, and as they greet the judge, it's for Skywalker Barry who's going to win it and win it really well. 4's beaten 1 and 2 back in third. Bocco's Lear.
That race was over in the first 2 seconds.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Smashed it.
lovely early pace.
Absolute smash out. Great trapping performance.
Oh, the hair's stopped early. Have you seen it? Stopped the hair on the they stopped the hair on the bend there.
Right.
Why
Did something go wrong in behind?
I'm not sure, but they didn't stop it down the side. They stopped it right on the bend.
Just rewinding to a look.
Jesus, he took one, didn't he?
So there's 4 crossing.
What is that? A smash box, Tom?
What's happened? They've just stopped it early. Basically, nothing's happened. Nothing's gone lame, as far as I can see.
Weird why they've just stopped it right on that bend. They've stopped it right where Nasher is. Do you see Nasher just behind the fence there with the camera?
Yeah. It wouldn't be a shock if perhaps the hair had broken down. 29.09. Yeah. And that's impressive.
That's some run.
Yeah,
I think you could be seen, certainly of those 3 dogs we've seen tonight. I could see at least 2 of them being in the final.
yeah.
That's pretty obvious, isn't it? But the style of those last 2 and their running, that is the type of run to keep qualifying.
It is interesting. Barry's went that little bit quicker than Bold Freddy. From my eye, I thought they'd maybe be roughly about the same. Maybe maybe a length and a half between them.
E 29.09 and 29.23. Yeah. Yeah, just over a length. Freddie.
I think Barry showed a bit more early there, doesn't he? That's where the length and a half is.
Yeah.
404 sectional. Is it that quick? 404?
No. 404 sectional.
Didn't look that quick, did it?
No.
What did Latoro do?
407.
Wow, it didn't look that quick in real time, did it?
That's yeah. There's some dogs that don't look as quick as they are.
Some dogs are
I don't know if
deceivingly.
it's generally the bigger dogs that sort of it's the length of their stride and their gallop and stuff. When they're sort of more the sort of gallopy dogs, they just don't look as quick.
That was impressive. That there.
He was impressive. Yeah, he was. He's a quick dog, isn't he, when he gets it right at the start? Very quick dog.
Yeah.
Sure, it's a few years since we've seen a good Skywalker dog come over the Derby, haven't we?
Yeah.
I remember years ago following one called Skywalker Ace. It was absolutely fantastic dog. He's had some good dogs, though, hasn't he? The Skywalker man.
Here's the Troopers jet dog, Skywalker Barry.
Yeah.
Plenty of points there in the tipping comp. Pretty much everyone had either Skywalker Barry and got 3 points, or Ballymac Fair won and got 2 points. So
Yeah.
not a significant change tipping comp. I think there was only 2 people who didn't pick up any points in that race. One had Antigua Biggin, the other one had Freedom Sky.
That dog Skywalker Barry will go deep into this competition. If you actually look through the dog's form, it got to a Irish Laurels final. It won the. It got to the final of the Kingdom Derby.
I think it won the Select Stakes. It won the Juvenile at Shelbourne Park and won the Gold Cup at Shelbourne Park.
Yeah, it's a fast dog. And do you know as well, he's another one. He's seeded rails, David, but he actually is probably better where he is in 3 and 4. He's another one where I just think they start better. And it's a bit like Ballymac Fair one when he was in the Derby last year. He came flying out of track 3 all the time and then did big clocks out of track 3.
Do you think if all these trainers got together with all these good dogs and said, you know what, we'll just seed the middle because the middle dogs and we'll
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I know.
Instead of going for the rails.
But this is what I said last year to Andy Lismore. I said there's some dogs that are actually seeded middle, and one of them was Ariel, Ballymac Ariel. Liam seeded the middle one. I'd have put her wide because she's better out of the way because of the style of running as well, because she's never really going to lead particularly races. So she wants to get that run. She get the clear sight at the hare. And I just think you don't want to get trapped inside dogs that are coming across you. So why don't you just get on the outside and be either 5 or 6, and you'll get a better run. And you're right. The likes of Lataro and the likes of Skywalker Barry, sometimes you just think, well, get drawn in 4. And if you get drawn 5, well, so be it. But you'll break better. You'll break better. You'll get a better line into the bend. There's so many dogs get trapped on the rails that don't want to be on the rails.
I mean, we've obviously gone over the Lataro. I've probably pronounced its name 10 different times.
Yeah, exactly. Tom said that. They spelled it 10 different ways as well, yeah.
If you were Lataro, what would you and you had to choose and you wanted to put a middle seed on or leave it on the rails, what would you be happier coming out of 5 than 1?
Yeah.
And there's no real argument not to put a middle on then, is there?
But well, no, but then obviously Patrick sees it differently, and that's what I'm saying. So Patrick's view is that he doesn't want to be out in 5. But what you saw there at a 4, you just think, Jesus, will you not be better getting drawn 4 or 5? And you know, the danger is, you know, you look tonight. How many wides are qualifying tonight, David? So it's gonna make the middle situation exacerbated because they're gonna, like Tom said, they're gonna get 6.
That pool of middle, that pool's going to be huge, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's the same old story. It's the middle to wides, the middle to rails. They all get boxed wrongly and too wrongly, in my opinion. I just think that when you go from dogs that want 4 and they end up getting 1, I think that's where the problem lies. But that's just me. I've watched enough videos and I've watched enough greyhounds in my lifetime to know what their ideal box is, and if I can see it, and you know, there'll be probably 100 other judges that can see that what I can see if they watch the videos. Why can't trainers see it or owners see it? And that's there lies the problem. So my argument was, take the seeding out of the hands of the owners, take it out of the trainers, and leave it to someone that has a good opinion because they watch dogs inside. So it takes out the emotional side of it. It's like, what's right and what's wrong. Now, if you say, well, hang on, my dog's getting drawn a little bit wrong, can I just not move in a notch so I don't get drawn so wide? Then that could be reviewed. And someone says, yeah, okay, well, we'll give you a chance. But it's all this chopping and changing that goes from middle to rails, and you go from 4 to 1. It's wrong. It should be in a gradual process. So if you had an ideal box scenario, it would work perfectly. Like Tom said, it would work perfectly.
And I've seen it from the other side, the actual proper railers getting drawn off the rail because of this situation with the middle.
Correct.
I mean, the amount of times I've been in a position, especially with George, and we just had to swallow it every time. If you got drawn in 4 or 5, but you're just thinking to yourself, it's unsafe for the other dogs inside because he's going to go left, right out of the box. He's just going to head for the rail. Yeah. So I see it from the other side as well. I see it from a railer side, and I do see it from the middle side. But if everybody, I think, we obviously talked on it earlier when Tom mentioned about picking your perfect trap that you want, and we did it that way instead of the way we're doing it now. Surely it would make for better.
I'll tell you what we'll do for the second round. We'll choose the preferred trap for each dog. We'll do our own draw.
But Tom, that's what I did.
See if it generates a better. Let's see if it generates a better draw than it would have done.
Yeah, it would do, Tom. And I was asked to be on the seeding panel last year, and I did all that. I did it all, and I did where they'd come out, and I passed all that on. I passed it on to Andy Lismore. I passed it on to Nathan Corden. I passed it on to Paul Illingworth at GBGB. But it's like, oh yeah, but he's middle to rail. And I said to Andy Lismore, what's the difference between middle to rails and rails to middle? I've seen a dog here when I've gone through the form, and out of 1 it's got rails to middle, and out of 3 it's got middle to rails. And I think, well, what's the difference? So, and my argument is, where would that dog want to be drawn then, Andy? Ideally, and he couldn't tell you straight away. Whereas when I write down here. I'm doing a Jason now, and you can't see it. But I'll write down on all my form cards a lane that dog wants to be in. So if I know it, and there'll be other people that could do the same as me know it. Why isn't that a given? Why isn't that? And as I say, as much as Patrick, I respect everything that Patrick could do as a greyhound trainer. It's too extreme to go from a middle to a rouse with Lataro, and I'm not picking on Lataro because that's he's now a track record holder. So, but I was doing that before he was a track. I know he's a fast dog, but I just know that he doesn't want to be drawn in trap 1. So why are you allowing him the chance to be drawn trap 1?
Yeah.
Whereas what we say, Tom, if you give an ideal box, if Patrick even said, I'd say I've got him laying 3.5. So Patrick's going to say in that essence then. He wants trap 3, isn't he? That's going to be if I know Patrick Janssens and I ring him up, I say, Pat, where do you think Lataro ideally wants to be drawn? He'd say trap 3, Paul, and he would do. And I'd say that's fair enough because he'd
prefer that over having to do tactical seeding to get the best possible chance of getting
Tom,
his box.
if he said 3, and he got 4, he wouldn't be too annoyed. Yeah. If he then gets a dog that gets drawn in 4 that wants to be in lane 3 or 2 and he gets 5, why is he going to moan about that? Because when he goes to the bend, he's got to be going in a relatively straight line. The dog on his inside is going to be moving in, so he's got to be drawn right. If he's drawn in 1 because he's seeded in rails and he's got Sing Along Sally in trap 4 that's going to go right across him and probably break like Skywalker Barry's just done out of box 4, he's got to be in a world of pain because she's going to be going in the ways and Lataro's going to be out the ways. And why would you want to have racing like that?
How many times have we looked at a race and we've said, that's in 2, that's in 3. For the safety of the dogs, we need to flip them round and switch them. We've seen it thousands and thousands and thousands of times where we've seen one dog inside of another that shouldn't be inside of that dog. I just don't understand why logic doesn't kick in and it goes past like we were talking with Emma.
But like Tom said, why don't they just try it? And I've given them. And listen, I'm not saying it was my idea because it was actually Gary Noble's idea, and I've got every respect for Gary Noble as a man that's been in dogs all his life. and come up with that. And I thought, hey, I've picked up on it. And now, like Tom said, Tom's picked up on it. He's gone, yeah, that'd work. He's convinced it'll work. So if we as people that are watching dogs inside out, why can't a governing body say, well, let's give it a go then?
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's difficult without getting too political and then.
Oh, Tricky's on the TV.
Tricky's on the
TV. He was before.
And Andy Backhouse, yeah.
And Andy Backhouse, yeah.
He gets himself in there, doesn't he, Tricky?
He gets places water couldn't. Unbelievable.
He does. He
looks quite serious. He's got a serious TV face on. Look at this. Looking very distinguished tonight.
He's had his barnet sorted out as well, look.
Yeah, he has. Not wearing a Hogwarts t-shirt.
He knew the opportunity for them cameras was going to be there, didn't he? He knew what was going to happen. He's got himself all looking smart.
Yeah. He's got his posh voice and everything. Blimey. Right, next race. Dog, didn't he? Next race. Lots of Shrewdies here. Priceless Jet screaming out for a bit. Bubbly Bollinger, a bit of interest, and then not a lot the rest. I have indulged in a little intro. A price above evens, I think, is reasonable. Priceless Jet. Was it a track record? Did it break the track record last?
Track record in a trial stakes. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And this is a similar sort of race in that actually it's a worse race. Because when he broke the track record, he ran against Burnchurch Mick and Drooper's Edition, but he got round the bend in a prominent position. And it's a bit like Lataro. He's a bit like Bucco's Belly. He's a strong dog that, in my opinion, in this race he'll get to near the front and
can kind of do it either way. You look at the recent form as a third and a third, but it's against Night Tornado and Susie Sapphire. Exactly. So you'll take that against anything else in the race. Bubbly Bollinger, a few people have picked that. I'm not sure how, based on the clock. I just think Priceless Jet is just a class above the rest of these.
I had Bubbly Bollinger as a fly in the ointment. Like, just don't know, which Bubbly Bollinger is going to turn up. Because Bubbly Bollinger on its day was an excellent dog, like a fast dog. Well, which dog's going to turn up? Like, I'm not sure. I mean, I've taken Priceless Jet, but would it concern you that the outside seems?
Yeah, that's the thing. And he's one of the dogs, David. If he flops out, his tendency is to move into lane 4, isn't it, and drop it on the rails at the turn. So he's not a dog, in my opinion, that's just going to stay. If he traps and he gets rid of 2 or 3 dogs early and follows Bollinger around, he's got a chance of winning the race.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I think, although Savannah Scrappy's not really got more of a stand top, he's already got a lot of early. That's going to be going in, and Magical Duke is definitely going to be moving off a true line from 3. Again, Chubby's Jet's not got a lot of early. The fact that 4 and 5 haven't got a lot of early, if Priceless Jet just gets any kind of start, I think all of a sudden he's in the race. But if he flops, starts dropping in behind, then again, it's not.
It's the outside that's concerning me. It's just, it looks like you want to be in the 3 or 4. It seems to be running a lot quicker than the outside. And I mean, Magical Duke has got early pace. Will Priceless Jet have to go around Magical Duke?
Yeah,
what's
possibly.
Bollinger going to do?
Possibly.
Antigua Hope, we know very little about.
Yeah, she looks more of a stand type to me, but I think you're right. Probably the early pace is probably going to be 2 and 3. One's got a good draw, to be fair. One has got a reasonable draw.
Yeah.
But I'm not too sure whether she might move off herself. So
Ethan's asked a couple of times. Sorry, it's been chatty the last 10 minutes, Ethan. Tom, have the Nats next best been added to scores already? So that's typical competition. Yes, Ethan. If the Nats next best have come in, those are already added to the scores because of the algorithm. Chief The 6 not for me. Ain't the strongest heat. Small bet on 3. I mean, it goes ping. Magical Duke.
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether 3 was actually good enough. That was got a little bit of form at Sheffield.
I just think odds against is tremendous value.
No,
prices.
honestly, yeah.
I say this every year. You get stupid prices on round 1 of the derby, and you feel silly offers not having more on. And if this gets beat, I'll take that on the chin because I've backed enough of these tonight and over the years that you will win backing dogs like this above even money in the first round.
It's class. It's class prices.
Yeah, it is.
You just need to get him. You just need to get him a start. That's all you need to do is get him a start.
Yeah.
Only one dog has qualified from 6. Yeah. Only one dog all night has qualified from 6.
Here we go then. Heat 9. The penultimate race of the evening for us here. Hot favourite in 6. And away and racing and 3. Magical Duke has bolted out the boxes and leads into the turn. Priceless Jet, though, he's got a turn in second spot. He just jumps over the back of the leader, though, and has lost a couple of lengths. Down the far side, Magical Duke with a 2.5 length lead from Priceless Jet, who's looking to stay. And again, he's just moving middle. Now looms up on the shoulder around the last 2 turns. 5, Chubby's Jet is also trying to stay on. Again, Priceless Jet makes a mistake. And 3, Magical Duke has kicked once more. And Magical Duke goes on to win it. And Magical Duke scores from Chubby's Jet. And Priceless Jet was only back in 3rd in the end.
Desperate. Absolutely desperate.
Yeah. He actually broke 9 last, but he actually showed a bit to the turn, didn't he? But that's his class, really, more than anything else, I think. But that's what I said, David. He sat in behind. See what I mean about him cutting the bend? And then he's jumped over the back then of Magical Duke. And I kind of thought that was my worry, that he would do that behind a wall of dogs, and yet he's done it behind one dog and still made a mistake. And he did it twice, didn't he? He actually made a mistake at 3rd as well.
I mean, when he's turned second there at the first bend, you're thinking, as long as he just holds his ground.
You're pressing buttons now, aren't you? If he's running, yeah. But
I mean, he's did a hell of a lot of running down the far side.
Look, he's just caught his heels again. Yeah, he's caught his heels. Yeah, you're right. You wouldn't expect him to run out of puff, would you, coming for home?
No. He's finished the tired dog. If you watch him crossing the line, he's lucky he's held on for 3rd.
He has. Yeah.
He's probably had his heart broken, not being able to get past 3 times during the race. I'd be fucking it off at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, the 5 dogs ran a nice race, though. It's kept its powder dry and it came on strong enough.
Yeah. Yeah, Frank Price has got a fair amount of. He's got some nice dogs in his kennel. I was talking to him the other day, and he's happy with the dogs that he's got, and and Chubby's Jet's qualified, so fair play to him. Duncan Begley owns Ken Humphries. Oh, head on. Now this will be interesting to see what 6 does. Actually, probably stayed wide start. 3 moving off. Look, I did say that as well. I was lane 3.5. I got that wrong, Tom. It was lane 5. What about that?
And that's absolutely done 6 there, hasn't it? Absolutely done 6.
That manoeuvre actually has countered Priceless Jet.
Yeah.
It's kept Priceless Jet straight and true.
And what I'm saying is now, David. So if you're on the seeding committee or you're the Toaster racing manager, how would you seed Magical Duke?
You'd be putting a middle seed, wouldn't you?
Well, of course you would.
Would, yeah. You put a middle on it, but you definitely wouldn't leave it where it's at now.
It's rails. got to be middle.
And then, I mean, you just play it along in your head. Imagine Magical Duke is on the inside of one of these bang railers.
Exactly. That's where it's all wrong, mate. And his solo trial, the race manager puts middle.
Middle. Yeah.
From trap 2, he puts middle. His previous races 5, 5, 4, and he's accepted as a railer. You tell me how that's right, please.
It isn't. Wrong. It isn't, Pio.
Wrong. It's wrong, mate. It's very, very wrong.
Yeah.
And like Tom says, this is our blue ribbon. This is where
Yeah.
everybody's watching.
Yeah.
And you know, if you're in Australia, you go, well, that's it. That's our rules. You can go on any box. You can get drawn pink. You can get drawn red. That's our rules. But when people, I lose all respect for people when they see dogs wrongly. I just lose respect for them. So.
And this is when we're talking about a competition. We're talking about Lautaro, the Bull Freddy, you know, all these dogs and Skywalker Baddies and all this. We shouldn't be having a discussion right at the beginning of the competition about not the best dog's going to win the competition, the best seeded dog's going to win the competition.
Exactly, yeah.
Are they going to get a run every week?
Yeah.
We shouldn't even be having that discussion. We should be talking about which dog's going to win the competition. But we're now looking at it, we're thinking, well, if that gets put in there, and that gets put in there, and then so it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when you're like us and you watch a lot of racing and you're investing in it and you see these issues, and then we've got no way of kind of changing that, have we?
No. And yet, what annoys me is every derby, Clive Lawrence puts what you call a GoPro on the first bend. Everyone can see where that dog runs, and no one does anything about it. And I just think, what'd you do that for then?
Well, exactly. What's the point? It's like saying to a child, "There's a packet of sweets, but you're not allowed to eat them. I'm going to take them away now. I'm just showing you them." It's like, why show these lines if you're then not going to act upon it and say, well, for instance, Magical Duke, it needs a middle on it. It can't possibly be a railer because by the time it's crossed the line, it's out where track 5 is.
But exactly. But with me, as I said to you, like Tom, I'd say to Tom now, where does that dog want to? What's his ideal box, Tom? Where does Magical Duke want to be?
5.
Yeah. So, and the trainer, if he sees him rouse, is probably going to say 4, right?
Yeah,
that's fine. So I would say 4, and he'll probably end up in 4. He'll probably end up in 5. Happy days.
But that's it. You could do that. You could say 4 or 5, or like when I had George, I would have easily have said 1, 2, or 3. Like as long as you're reasonable about it.
But that's what I mean, David. With George, you would say, my ideal box is track 1, and Tom would say, yeah, I'd agree with that, and I'd say, yeah, I'd agree with that, and Emma Buckley would say, Sing Along Sally wants to be track 1, and Tom would say, yeah, I agree with that, and I'd say, yeah, I agree with that. And so when the draw comes out with the ones, Blue Tick George gets track 1, Sing Along Sally gets track 2.
Yeah. Do you know what I reckon it is?
Let me just finish this, Tom. David, you happy with that? Pat, are you happy with that? Yeah, that'll do. Next week, Sing Along Sally gets drawn 1, Blue Tick George gets track 2. David, you happy with that? Yeah, because your dog's drawn right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go on, Tom.
I reckon there's an algorithm that they use for, not an algorithm, there's a template for doing the race cards in the betting shops, and they must have rails middle wide on them, and messing that up will just cause a whole world of pain, and they can't be bothered to sort it out.
Yeah, but see, when you look at certain tracks, I personally think Monmore is one of the worst. It's one of the worst. They go every which way, and even if they're drawn right one week, they'll switch the same dogs the next, and you go, why did you do that? Yeah. They just do it because they think they're getting competitive racing by having dogs drawn wrong. Well, if you can't find dogs of similar ability without drawing them in the wrong boxes, don't be a racing manager.
Yeah. The thing is, Paul, this leads on to another discussion, really. And I've said this for a long time. If you've got a smart greyhound, you just bought a greyhound in Ireland for good money, I can understand most people saying, I'll leave the dog in Ireland to learn its trade. That I struggle now thinking of a place to start a nice dog off in the UK.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you drop it into the graded system, you just got no chance. Its confidence is gone before you get to the third race. And I've seen it all before. And you don't have enough maidens, you don't have enough of these little competitions that you can put it in to get them started. Anybody with a decent money dog, I can fully understand them leaving them in Ireland to learn the trade.
It's good. That's a good bit of terminology that as well. When you said about the confidence, because you can ruin a dog before it's even started just by getting it in the wrong box, getting a clump. And I had a dog. He's here now with us. Toby, Warning Over, he was called. He won his first race in Romford, and he was out of track 4, and he went wallop, and he won an A5. Then he won an A4. We syndicated him, and it was a Racing Post TV syndicate. And then he upped him 2 grades. He obviously got the honours, put him in A2. He was track 4, track 4, track 4. And every time the 3 dog would be a fast dog going to the bend, it'd go clump, clump. And in the end, the dog was shutting his eyes going to the first bend. He's lost all confidence because he knew when he went to that first bend, he was going to get hurt.
Yeah.
He was going to get winded. He was going to get a dog up at his jacksy.
I had one last night.
End, I just took him away. I didn't have a row with Peter O'Dowd. I just took him away.
Yeah. I had one last night. I put on my Twitter last night, you'll have seen, like, I couldn't see our dog getting beat. I couldn't see him getting beat. Last week, he was in against a dog from Yarmouth, and the dog had went for the Open in the Little Maiden competition at Harlow and hadn't had a trial. And the dog basically put our dog and another dog, nearly put them over the inside rail. And now we got one yesterday, and like I was talking to Ryan Keneally about this, and he said, I can't get beat. Couldn't get beat. On all known form, I could not see him get beat. And he went off, I think, a touch of odds on. Came to the first bend last night and just brakes on. Just threw the brakes on because he thought, last week when I did this, I nearly got put over the rail.
Yeah, exactly.
And his confidence has gone.
Confidence. Yeah, totally agree with you. Yeah. Well, that's what people don't realise. And they're animals. They're not numbers. They're animals, mate.
No.
And that's what when these race managers they lose sight of that. They just lose sight of it. But that's 100%. The disappointing thing. Yeah, that's a disappointing.
And that's not just to be fair. That's not just the UK. We had a dog in Captain Dynamite. He lost the head in Australia. He was a wonder dog, and he lost the head. We never got him back to where that he was because he got turned over too many times. Once a young dog gets it in their head that this could happen. You can't. You struggle to shift it. So I understand. Quickly while I'm on that, I mean, Headford Flash, for instance. Headford Flash went to Monmore. He was. We graded him on a couple of times. He couldn't win a top grade race. Took him into maiden opens. Got his confidence up. Got to 3 Category 1 finals.
Yeah.
So difficult now with a young dog. Really is difficult. It frustrates me as well because you see so many good young dogs that just don't come to this country anymore. They just stay in Ireland.
Yeah, absolutely. This is an interesting race. Savannah Bow is, in my eyes, clearly the fastest in this race, but whether Savannah Bow can get a clear run is a major question mark for me.
Yeah.
Milton Pepe is probably the obvious one to take Savannah Bow on with if you're looking to do so. But it's probably one of the weaker heats overall, and it's kind of one of those races where anything could happen at the first bend.
Yeah, I must admit, the only thing I would think, I suppose the best early is probably going to be from 5 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
And where, Savannah Bow's more of a stay-up. But again, what we've seen today, they can come flying out the traps, and because Savannah Bow wants to be where he is, it's not a terrible draw for him. Milton Pepe's a dog I like, but will he clear Stanwell Buster? If he does, he'd be a runner. I mean, again, 1 stays, 2 stays, 4 stays, and I see Castell Cuddles in Ireland, and he was called Telon Cuddles, and he looks like he's a stayer as well. So, there's a lot of similar style of running dogs drawn in 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the early birds are drawn the outside. So, I was same as you, Tom. It's a tough race to kind of weigh up, really.
There's not even anything obvious for the place. It's just one of those races that anything could kind of come anywhere. Had an interesting message, not on the chat, from some Dave Skinner watching at home. If you watch Magical at Sheffield, you would think middles. Perry Bar, you'd think rails. That's quite interesting, isn't it? That the dogs can
that's
run
another good
differently.
point.
to the
Yeah,
tracks
no,
as
I do
Yeah.
get that as well, and that's a good point. And that's why I say, Tom, that there should be, if you have that rule of an ideal box, there should be a point where the trainer can say, "Can you just draw me in a notch there, because I do tend to run this track different to another," and I don't see the problem in doing that. I don't see the problem.
It's this is why you trial the dogs. This is why you have the trial, to see how the dogs run the track. They're all going to run different tracks totally differently.
Yeah.
And this is why you do it. And it shouldn't be a case of, and I hate it when you see it, it shouldn't be a case of, because my dog is rails at Central Park, Yarmouth, somewhere else, doesn't mean it's going to be a rails at Toaster.
Yeah, it's what I always call, it's not necessarily A plus B equals C, David. So there, but this is what I mean about, you have to, within this game, you have to be fairly open-minded and look at things from outside the box. Whereas just we're too a bit straight down the middle sometimes. So like Tom said, really, they should try this sort of thing. And he drove me mental, Paul Illingworth. I mean, you know, I've got a lot of respect for him and his family, because they were great from Craig when I was at Craig for 10 years. But by the same token, sometimes you have to say, well, open your eyes then and do something about it. Exactly what Tom said.
Inaction is what winds people up, I think, a lot of the time.
Agreed.
Here we go. Favourite is track 4. Diane Henry and Kevin Booth's Savannah Bow. Heat 10. And away and racing, and 5 gets the best of the break. Silent Goofy leads into the turn in front of the 6. Oh, Savannah Bow just copped a little bit of a check, and trouble there at the back for Samuel Busser and Milton Pepe as they go down the far side. It's 5. Silent Goofy for John Mullins with a 4-length lead over the 6. Ninja Kerry trying to stay on now is Savannah Bow as they swing off the last turn. It's hard work on the front end for the orange jacket. It's Silent Goofy still with the lead though. He kicks off the last and he goes on to score. Silent Goofy, Savannah Bow gets up for second, and Ninja Kerry qualifies in third.
And that's pretty much what I thought the danger was with Savannah Bow there. It shows how difficult it is to pass at Toaster as well. You get dogs going into the third bend, right up the back of another dog, and as long as they turn handy, they can just grab that extra length or two. You need a real strong running dog to back run there.
So I went to Toaster. We went to Toaster for trials when Pat and Emma came over, and afterwards I had a beer with John Mullins and Ray Bourne actually, and I do like John. He's a great lad and a fantastic trainer, steeped in history, his family, Greyhound racing. And I said to him, "What's your derby team then?" And him and Brian were really enough for the runners. And he went to Silent Goofy. I said, "Yeah, he won't stay, will he? He's already won over 500 metres at Toast." I went, "Has he?" I didn't even know. So, and actually, I don't know if you noticed in commentary, I was thinking he's going to get reeled in. And he kicked again, to be fair to him, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
I was more impressed with how he got the 500 metres to how the race panned out.
Yeah.
He's done really well there.
Yes,
I would imagine John Mullins has had this, because John Mullins schooled this entire litter, didn't he? He generally schools a lot of them. So
litter. Yeah.
It must be massive for him having a dog winning the Derby round that he's probably had as a young pup. You know what I mean?
He's reared two litters for me as well, and he does a great job. He just knows dogs inside out, John, and he's a really nice fella. And but you're right. He would love, and I mean, he just loves the Derby. Obviously, his dad won the Derby, and he just loves the Derby, and he just wants to keep going because he believes one day he'll win the Derby.
Yeah,
he's just waiting to win the Derby. Bless him.
Yeah. Small profit tonight, PL. £127 and 5p. If we'd been a bit bold with our staking earlier, I think we would have been around 800. But A profit's a profit. We just eke it out. We grind it out. We're here day
You're
in,
right, actually. We
day
did.
out.
We did. We did miss a bet earlier on, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Was it early?
Yeah.
Who
I
was
think
it?
it was hard early on, wasn't it? The first three just
Oh,
seemed
Bocco's
really-
belly. We should have bet Bocco's belly.
Yeah. I will go
That was poor
through
from me.
the.
That was my fault.
Yeah, I'll go through the competition. I need to check my spreadsheet because it's a very complicated spreadsheet. I need to check all the formulas are picked up correctly. But I will quickly run down this. So top half of it, Chelt Mental's done very well there with 27. Did he land the Napa next best? He did. Price is jetting to Bold Freddy. Martin Chapman, 9 points.
Price
Travel lost. Jaguar Macy lost. Drum Crow Brent lost. Bryce Canyon lost. Hello Faker Fossil lost. Back in a bit there, but not a great night at the office there. Totally betting 26 points. Not quite as high, but certainly in contention. What else we got of interest?
Tom Francis.
Right. Brian Kennedy.
Tom Francis. I've picked more dogs today than I did this very quickly. What I didn't want to do, because I've got access to data, to make it look like I was checking other people's picks to do mine. So I got it in early doors without really doing the card properly. So I could have done better there. But,
Just do better. Don't worry
that's
about
all right.
it. We trust you, Tom.
Brian Kennedy, good judge, should be on during the bank holiday, but it depends how many points he has early doors, which I respect. 28 points currently the leader. No, Andy Backhouse 28 points as well. Andy, not a great start, lack of early pace, but he is stayed strong here. Bealish Frankie, the Bold Freddy, little stolen a few points here and there. Got the Napa next best landed. Yeah,
very good. Am I tailed, Tom?
Sean Griffin's also on 28.
Oh, I'll take 23.
There you are, 23. Certainly still in the hunt.
Yeah.
Mark Hare, 28. Is anyone going to beat 28 tonight? Oh, 31. Joker Dan. 31
Joker
points.
I think he followed me today, actually.
Yeah. Ryan Keneally. Ryan's an annoyingly good judge.
Shrewdy.
Dalmay, 25 in the hunt. Mr. T. Welshie. I've asked him to come on Greyhound Watchalong at least 20 times. We're hoping we'll get him on during the derby. 28 points for Razor. 9 points for Mark Bonser. Oof! 7. What's happened?
Did you find me or not? Am I tailed?
Let's have a look.
You can't be doing that well, PL.
24 points, PL. 24.
Excellent.
PL is in the hunt.
Just waiting to pounce.
Yeah, that's it. Ron Bond, good luck, good watch, lads. See you tomorrow night. Thank you. It's gone quick tonight. It's been good. You can't beat very good, RB, can you?
Excellent.
It's just the best.
Good guest tonight, David, Ian, Emma.
Yeah. No,
we'll go again tomorrow.
It's been excellent. Plenty of viewers. There's still quite a few of you left. Just hit that little subscribe button on YouTube. Just press it. Literally, just click the button. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. I don't ask for much. Thank you very much, all. It's been a pleasure. Cheers for coming on, David. A pleasure as always. And we'll be back tomorrow at, is it 6:10 PL?
6:05.
6:05. We're keen, aren't we?
Yeah. Chomping at the bit, Tom. Chomping at the bit.
Dinner's getting earlier and earlier. Yeah. Nice one. Cheers, chaps. Good night.
Thanks for having us. Bye-bye.